Ta-da!
You sure you're comfortable?
Yes.
Then shall we begin?
Don't be a racist. Bye. Shit, sorry, should we do that again? Because I said goodbye for an introduction.
Oh, doesn't matter, does it? It's fine. We'll leave that
Just
in.
cut me out.
No, we'll leave that in.
Cut me out of everything.
Right. What episode are we on?
This is episode 7.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you and good evening. Thank you and good evening. Thank you to the studio audience. Brilliant. What was that?
It's my rim shot. Every time you make a dad joke, I'm just going to play the rim shot.
Did you just
from now
give me a
on.
rim shot live on our podcast? I got another one.
That's the two.
That's
That's
two
the two
minutes.
elephants and a rattlesnake falling off a cliff, innit?
But
Fucking hell. That was so bad, I didn't have a chance to cue it up again, Adam.
Exactly.
It stunned me into submission.
Is there a sound for tumbleweed? Have you got that on there?
Right, Chris, introduce the podcast. Who's here this week?
Hello, good evening,
What
ladies and gentlemen,
podcast is it
and
called?
welcome to.
What episode are we on?
Shut up! Hello, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Snoo with the Crew, podcast number 7, with Adam Gaterell,
Hello.
Ross Murphy,
Hello.
and our very, very special guest, Mr. Paul Brown.
You're all right,
Nice.
Just say hello, mate.
Hello.
Thanks.
I thought you'd want a Carl Pilkington.
Oh, and me. Hello, everyone.
Never, ever introduces himself.
That's rubbish. At that.
Wow. They know by now.
Do they?
All 50 of them.
Fuck off. There's 50 views on YouTube does not mean 50 people listen to our podcast. It means 47 people accidentally clicked on the wrong link.
No, it doesn't. Hello to everyone that's already listening, and thank you very much for continuing to listen, because there are decent
We do have some downloads.
We do have repeated.
Nothing's
listeners.
beating Bill Paxton episode, mate. It's trashed all the other episodes.
That's true.
But I
60.
feel like we're bandwagoning a little bit there as well. I just feel bad because we're profiting from somebody's departure.
Wow.
Departion.
That's not a word.
Departure shenanigans.
Is it a dead Martian?
Oh dear God. Dad jokes. We are going to have to put an hour podcast together of just your dad jokes.
Yeah, cool. We can do that. Right, we should probably bloody crack on, shouldn't we?
Should we see what's in the snooze?
We've got some off-topic stuff to start with, though.
Oh.
Ross, Disney Star Wars Land promises full-sized AT-AT walkers.
Didn't have that when you were there.
Did they?
Didn't. If they'd have been built when I was there, they would have been closed. So
I was hoping to make you see the bit more than that, to be honest.
I can.
Hello.
Well, yeah.
Inside
it's
he's
all right.
burning. Look at him.
No, I'm all right. I'm just really excited to go back to California one day.
One day, when Star Wars Land's been taken down.
2019.
When the kids have grown up and flown the coop.
Flown the coop.
Flown the coop.
That's not a planet in Star Wars. It's definitely a character in Star Wars, though. Flown the coop.
I have flown a coop.
Right, okay. Movie news. So, Ross, back with you, because you like Disney and stuff, because you've just been to Disneyland. Danny DeVito's in negotiations for a lead role in Dumbo. So is Colin Farrell. Does that interest you at all?
Which one's going to be Dumbo?
Don't know.
Danny DeVito is obviously the ringmaster, isn't he? Because I
do you
think ringmaster's a bit horrible in that.
Is it a
I
bit
haven't
like-
seen that. I used to watch Dumbo loads because it's brilliant and it's like 80 minutes and there's like the biggest acid trip in the world in the middle of it. It's
Have you
a really
seen
good
Dumbo,
film.
Paul?
Bit racist now.
Yeah. That's it. Disney. I don't get on with Disney. I don't get on with Disney at all.
Not at all?
No.
Probably
So-
should get out of this podcast. Mate.
I know. I'm just going to sit back on this one.
It's not like the whole podcast is about Disney. It's all right. It's
Or
fine.
record a podcast with Adam. You can talk about how much you don't like Disney or Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
2016.
Oh no, I'm up for Ghostbusters. Don't you worry. That's fine.
What? Ghostbusters 2016?
Oh no, forget that.
Yay! Someone on my side.
I saw it this week.
I'm pretty sure there's lots of people on
And
the
has
side.
your opinion changed? It's awful, isn't it? It's not. I'm not against there being a full crew of women in it. I think that's ridiculous that people got angry about that. But the fact that it's just a bad film.
It is pretty just... It's just a film. isn't it?
It's
There's
not even
nothing-
just a film. It's
there's
just bad all the
nothing
way through.
specifically good about it. I wouldn't say it's trash.
There's no bad guy ghost. It's a whiny little guy that used to be a science geek at school who's
Yeah.
been bullied. Like, so where are the ghosts?
It's like Men in Black
Right.
with 4 chicks, isn't it?
Yeah.
Basically, a retelling of Men in Black.
It's like they looked at the first 2 films and went, "What are the worst bits in them?"
Yeah.
And
Well, no,
we'll
but
smoke a
like
movie out
even
of
the
it.
end scene isn't even it's just an over-the-top, ridiculous action film for the last scene, and neither of the other two had that level of ridiculous action in them.
It's just not funny either.
No.
It's like,
Let's pick the worst lines we can possibly take out of all of the takes that we've filmed and put them in here.
I quite like the female Egon character, though.
But she's
I
just
think-
too stupid. You don't believe that she could be a scientist.
yeah, but also all of the science is fucking bollocks, isn't it?
Yeah. But like,
Hang on, we are talking about Ghostbusters.
that doesn't
Of course it
matter. At least have your main science character talk like they're a scientist, not, oh, look at me, I'm wearing a wig.
It's like saying all the bloody science in Star Wars is bollocks, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's just a fantasy tale in a land far, far away.
Well, this is a fantasy tale in a land not quite so far fucking away. Not quite so long ago.
yeah, I just think it managed to take nothing. It
didn't
didn't even
make-
need to be a Ghostbusters film, did
No,
it?
it could have been like, what was that, Evolution, or
Yeah,
Evolution was good. That was the other, like, that was Ghostbusters without it being Ghostbusters.
I've got to admit, I've not watched the film yet, but I saw the
Have you not?
trailer, and from that, it was every moment was. You know, you got that cliche that sort of happened. It's been going on for a little while, where you got the record scratches,
Yeah.
and it's what, and it was that every 5 seconds. It
Yeah.
was all those moments for the entire trailer, and I thought, nah, I'm not even gonna.
The whole film's like that, and
Yeah, that's
then
what I
when it's
thought.
not like that, it's over the top, like big budget Hollywood action film
Yeah.
ridiculousness.
It's more scary movie. Like it,
Yeah.
it's that low. It's that so low level of comedy. Like Chris Hemsworth's character is.
Ugh.
He
Ugh.
is deplorable in so
Did
many
you
ways.
notice that all the men in the film are either insanely stupid or really evil?
It is like
Like, that seems to
stupidly
be the
feminist.
choice they've gone with it, and I'm totally up for the right level of feminism in taking a brand that was all males and doing that if that's what they want to do. But they didn't do it any justice with that. They kind of went against themselves on that side of things a little bit.
They did. And you know what? Ghostbusters is not our theme this week, so let's
Yeah,
move on.
carry on.
Yeah, sorry, I shouldn't have.
You
I forgot to
caused
stop
a
mentioning
problem again,
Ghostbusters.
Ross.
Jesus.
I said Ghostbusters and Adam bit. It always happens.
Every week, that or Turtles.
What about, do you like Stephen King, Paul, by any chance?
Oh, yeah, well, The Shining.
Oh, sweet. Okay. Paul is showing me a Shining T-shirt that he's wearing right now.
Yes.
So the right person to ask.
Although I think Stephen King actually hates that particular film, doesn't he?
Oh, does he?
Yes, Stephen King absolutely hates it with a
Was The
passion.
Shining a Richard Bachman or a Stephen King?
Don't know.
It's Stephen
It's
King.
Stephen King.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
okay. Because
Stephen-
some like Shawshank Redemption was his other writing.
Yeah, we looked this up
voice,
the other
wasn't
week,
it?
me and
Stephen
Bobbin,
King.
and in actual
Yeah.
fact, Shawshank was Stephen King.
Was it?
Yeah.
I thought it was a Richard Bachman.
No, Running
Oh,
Man's
okay.
Bachman, and
It is.
that's about the only thing that's been made. But I tell you what, they need to make is Long Walk, which is another Richard Bachman book. Read the Bachman books; you can get it in one volume.
Do you
They're
know-
really
They're
good?
just short stories.
Do we know
aren't they?
why he was
They're
releasing books under the name Bachman?
Nope.
No. Because he was only allowed by his publishers to release so many a year, and he's a bit bloody prolific, isn't he? So he, in order to get around it, released under a pseudonym.
Oh, I
Just
didn't
to
know
get
that.
enough material out in a year. But,
Clever
the
bugger.
amount that he wanted to. So yeah, every day's a fucking school day. Dark Tower's coming soon. Are you guys excited by the Dark Tower movie?
What is
It's
it?
Stephen King movie that a book, that kind of ties a lot of his story. You know how a lot of his stories are in a shared universe. Well, there's very much a shared universe theme going on with this. Like towards the end of the story, it spans a lot of books.
I'll give it a go, as long as it's no Ben Affleck
Okay,
or Nicolas Cage.
okay. Then your main actors are.
There's nothing wrong with either of those two actors.
Yeah, but I don't imagine they'd work well in a Stephen King film.
No, what's right about them?
I like Nicolas Cage in these three films. Con Air, put the bunny back in the box. I like him in Face Off, bra fucking vo. And I like him in Kick-Ass doing an impression of Adam West. Every other film I've seen him in, he's been a bit like, nah, I could take him or leave
What about
him.
The Rock?
Yeah, he's
No,
the
I don't
worst
mean The
part
Rock.
of
I
it.
mean The Rock, the film. Not The
Yeah,
Rock,
yeah,
he's
he's-
amazing. It's The Rock that's all right.
Nicolas Cage is the worst part of The Rock. If it wasn't for him, that would have been a perfect side James Bond film.
Yeah, but that's because the other two characters are Sean Connery and Ed Harris, so he's always going to be the worst thing in that, isn't he?
I don't know. The girl was
Personally,
pretty
I
good.
think you're a fucking idiot. Done the wrong type of accent again. Cut that out, please. Cut that out.
No, definitely not. Right, okay. So your main actors are Idris Elba, and I believe it's Matthew McConaughey as the bad guy.
It's worth a go, then, isn't it?
So
They've done a good comic series, haven't they? Through, was it Marvel did the comics?
It's a continuation of the story, I do believe.
Oh, okay. So this is going to
but-
be the original book story and not the comics.
No, it's in actual fact, it's a sequel
Oh,
to
okay.
all of it, I think.
Oh.
So I believe. Shoot me if I'm wrong. But the main reason for me bringing it up is that they've released another poster this week. That's 2 in the last fortnight, and still no trailers. And it's due for release 28th of July 2017. And
That's not far off.
No, it's really really close. And to have no trailers is a bit weird.
It's weird that they haven't done a Thor trailer and that proper Thor trailer, and that's out in November.
That's true.
But to be out in July and not have a trailer,
That's playing your cards really close to your chest, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is almost news as well, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? Shall I move on?
Please.
Speaking of posters, there was a poster for the Ridley Scott's Alien Covenant. Did you see that?
Isn't it really dark and you
It
can
is.
just see a bit of an alien?
Just lots of bits of different types of alien
Yeah.
and people with face huggers on their faces and one on their ass. No.
Oh, that sounds good though. Is it
but-
like a little montage of death?
It is. A montage of alien horror.
Is it Giga work?
Yeah, it's very Giga-esque.
Oh, it's not. He didn't do it though.
Well, he's dead, isn't he? So
I didn't know he died.
yeah,
No.
he did.
Shame on you.
I wonder if his coffin was super mega, alien-esque.
Or covered in penises and vaginas like most of his artwork.
Yeah, yeah, you're right, actually.
Or
Some of it
babies'
is very
faces.
sexual.
No, he was.
Are we
he-
talking like a coffin would be the penis shape, and then as he's going into the cremator,
Yes.
we're talking big alien,
Big vagina,
Yeah.
flaming vagina,
flaming, yeah.
Amazing.
With baby faces all the way around it. Because that seems to be the other thing
That's
he
the
was
other-
obsessed
yeah.
with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe one comes out of the vagina thing and swallows up the penis coffin.
Oh, that would be amazing.
I think that's where it was going.
This is going extreme. So, moving on. So, Ridley Scott reckons that he's got another trilogy of Alien films that will fit before the first Alien movie.
What?
I know.
What, starting with Alien Covenant or not including that?
No, in actual fact, the one that's going to follow this one is going to be set in between Prometheus and Covenant. So, just to fucking confuse things.
So he's done a prequel and then he's doing a sequel to the prequel and then a prequel to the sequel
Yes,
of the prequel.
Yes.
That's just ridiculous.
That's crazy,
So-
isn't it? So the order will go Prometheus, Awakening, Covenant. And then, if those
followed shortly by Nobody Cares and Who Gives a Fuck. I'm sorry, but I have a lot of time for Ridley Scott. He's an incredible filmmaker, but when the fuck did he turn into George Lucas? Because I don't even think this Alien wasn't his baby, was it? He was just brought on board to direct a movie called Alien.
Oh, really?
wasn't he? I'm sure he's not. He's a
I don't,
screenwriter.
I don't think he's the brainchild, no.
No,
Really? Okay,
It's
we'll
not
have to look that up for next time.
To be honest, he hasn't even made the best film in that series. James Cameron made that one.
Yeah, it's true.
I'll argue that
Very
all
true.
day with anyone. That
Absolutely.
Aliens is a better action movie than Aliens a better horror movie.
It's the suspense in Alien, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's just one scene, that film, isn't it? John Hurt.
Well,
I was going John Hurt.
Good old Rob Hurt.
So you call him Rob Hurt?
I did last week, yeah.
Yeah, that means you have to go back and listen to our old episodes, otherwise you won't get all of Chris's jokes.
Just like in comics, see issue 6.
Yeah.
Something else that might interest you then, Ross. Mission Impossible 6. Henry Cavill's coming on board. Do you care?
I don't really care about any of that statement, but
No?
what I will find interesting is in Chris's show notes, he just put MI6. So I thought Henry Cavill had actually turned into a real spy and gone to work for MI6. So I was going to go, that's weird. Somebody really famous that's easily recognisable has gone to work for the British Secret
Maybe that would work
Service.
though.
See
Just
it.
no one to suspect him. That would, maybe he is. Maybe that's it. Maybe
Maybe
Chris
that's it.
knows something we don't,
If it happens, then...
and we're all
Yeah.
dead at the end of this podcast.
I've
Yeah.
got a lot of time for the Mission Impossible movies, but I have a confession that I haven't even seen the latest one.
Have you not? Oh, you bloody should. It's good.
Which one was the latest one?
Rogue Nation.
That was better than the first 3.
One's okay, two's really bad.
Ghost Protocol and Rogue Nation are better than the first 3, in my eyes.
Yeah, That's a fair statement.
Which is
I agree.
3 the one that J.J. Abrams directed? And
It's the one with Simon Pegg on the front of a train.
Yeah, that's good.
I know, Tom Cruise on the front of a train. Simon Pegg in it for the first time.
Who's shoveling the coal?
To be honest, in any Mission Impossible movie, Tom Cruise is on something that he probably shouldn't be on.
Yeah.
Like the outside of a building.
Scientology drugs.
Henry Cavill's pretty good in The Man from U.N.C.L.E., so I would think he'll be pretty good in Mission Impossible.
I quite like him as Superman, but that's a debatable comment, I think. Right, moving on. Robert Rodriguez is going to direct the Escape from New York reboot.
I don't know why they need to do that.
Nor do I.
I was just going to say the same.
Yeah.
Do we
It's
need
perfect. It's perfectly cheesy and good as it is. Leave it alone.
There's a theme in our podcast. Every week we talk about a reboot and how it's such a fucking silly idea. Because we're all nearly 40.
Yeah, no. But there's certain things you could reboot. There's certain things you could reboot that were shit that could be rebooted that would be better for being rebooted now.
Just off the top of my head there, like we said it the other week, but like Tron, as good as people think Tron is, it's not actually very good. And the fact that they did try and reboot it, or if they are actually going to reboot it now properly and just do a new version of it, that's fine. And other things like Willow. Willow's not very good.
No, Willow
True.
could be rebooted.
You could do a new version of Willow.
What's the one with Robbie the Robot, the first movie that he appeared in?
The Black Hole.
No. Forbidden
You're
Planet.
thinking of Forbidden Planet or
Planet.
Lost in Space?
Forbidden Planet, yeah.
Forbidden Planet.
Yeah.
That'd be a good one to remake.
Yeah, you might as well have said RoboCop, because how did they get that so wrong? I don't even know where to start with that.
I'd buy
What with
that.
That was
$1.
just sacrilege.
Well, the thing was, they kind of reversed the way it worked in the new RoboCop, so that it didn't make any sense.
How can you have RoboCop and not have Clarence Bodica?
yeah.
He's the key character in the whole film.
In honesty, I think the director was the key character in the whole film.
Oh,
the way he put like all the adverts that Ross was just talking about, one of the little snippet bits that was in it, but the adverts for like, you know,
6,000 SUX.
family board games and stuff, and yeah,
Paul
bits were
Paul
genius.
Verhoeven.
Is that his name, Paul Verhoeven?
Yes, we could have a whole podcast about him
We
and his
could.
amazing films like Starship Troopers
Yeah,
and
that's a great
Total
one.
Recall.
Oh, is that one of his?
Yeah,
Ah.
the original. Actually, so that means Starship Troopers is the only one of his really good tentpole movies that needs remaking to complete the trilogy. I've also realised we're going to get a John Carpenter trilogy remake.
Are we?
Yeah, because we've had The Fog.
Yeah.
We're having Escape from New York.
We've had the thing. They've remade the thing.
Yeah, so they've already done a trilogy. So good news, they're not going to fuck up Big Trouble in Little China.
Well, actually, there is talk of it.
They were talking about a TV series of that. They did the comic books. Comic books are great. And then, they've been
Oh, is that a
talking about
continuation? The comic
film. Yeah,
book? That is
continuation from the original film.
Not read them.
I think we should start playing remake bingo. Just get a little sheet set up with lines of different directors and different actors, and you just start crossing it off.
Everyone can play along at home, can't they?
Yeah,
Great
idea.
We'll put it online tomorrow. No, we won't. Right, next. Have you seen Swiss Army Man, Paul?
No.
Have you, Ross?
Nope. I've heard it's very good though.
It is very
I
good.
started watching it and decided I wasn't in the right frame of mind to deal with seeing Harry Potter as a corpse.
It is like the most bizarre film, but it's just so watchable at the same time. So the guys that made it, Dan and Dan, they are going to be working with the Russo brothers.
Dan and Dan,
Yeah, the two Dans.
and they're going to be working with the Russo brothers.
They're working on a sci-fi project together. If you've seen Swiss Army Man, you'll realise that their brains work in very fucking weird ways, and I'm quite excited by the idea.
Is the bad guy going to be called Dan Duran?
Dad joke for yourself there.
Right, Zombieland 2 is in production still, apparently,
Good.
or at least it's going to happen at some point.
Cool.
But they're struggling to get it into production because, well, to be fair, they made the first one for 20 million, and all the stars are a bit bigger now, aren't they? So trying to get a studio to...
They were
sort
all
of-
doing pretty good big stuff at the time, though. Really,
Yeah, well-
Woody Harrelson's quite a massive
Woody Harrelson,
actor.
yeah.
Bill Murray's quite big.
Yeah, but
Emma
he won't be in it,
Stone
will he?
was like doing really well.
No, I
at
don't
the
think she
time.
was pretty unknown. I think she was pretty unknown.
Really?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure it's like that was straight after Superbad, wasn't it?
One of my favourite films, the Ghostbusters lunchbox filled with dick pics. It's just one of the funniest cartoon scenes in any film ever. Gets a lunchbox knocked off out of his hand and all his dick pictures go all over the floor and he has to go see a counsellor. It's genius.
Adam thought it was his biography.
Yeah.
Come on, next. Let's go on with some news.
Okay, TV news. Young Sheldon series.
Fuck off!
Don't
No,
care.
we don't care, Chris.
Yeah, you do.
No.
Nobody
Yeah, you do.
cares.
Everybody cares. It's been directed by bloody John Favreau.
We don't care.
That's quite exciting.
No, it's not.
He's a big bloody director.
Adam, back
isn't
me
he?
up here.
I don't care.
We just
Fine,
don't care.
Fine. Game of Thrones.
Yes.
Don't care.
Talk
Okay.
about no. Come on.
See.
We have a gag.
See, it's all right when it's Game of
We
Thrones.
have a gag about how bad The Big Bang Theory is, but you can't carry that joke into Game of Thrones. Adam.
Would you consider it a spoiler to know who's going to kind of have a cameo this coming season?
It's somebody who's already died. Then
No, cameo as in you know, like bands and pop stars that have been in up until this point.
yeah, I don't care. I
Yeah,
don't
okay.
think that's a spoiler.
Okay, Mr. Ed Sheeran is going to have a little
for
cameo
God's sake.
in it. I think mainly just because like
Driving 90 miles an hour down the country road.
you don't like Ed Sheeran then.
No.
Fair enough.
Does a lot of charity work, fair enough, but he's a dickhead.
Well, he's dominating the British charts slightly at the moment, isn't he?
Don't know how, his song's awful.
I like him only because he shows every other millennial up with his work ethic.
Absolutely. Yes, he
There's
does
a
work
lot of
very
other
hard.
people his age also doing a lot of work that aren't famous for the much more talented things they do.
Yeah, but a lot of millennials sit and record music now and don't play gigs and just think, why have I not got a record deal?
Anyway,
That's true.
so the girl that plays Aria, she really loves Ed Sheeran, and they play a lot of pranks on each other and stuff. And they just brought him along one day and stuck him in costume and put him on the set to see if she'd notice. And he ended up doing a little gig there and stuff. And his cameo is going to be in the show, which is quite nice.
Actually doing a gig as like a folk bar.
No, he's just. I don't know. In honesty,
To be hon-
other stars have had musical parts.
I prefer not to know, because thinking about it, I knew that Sigur Rós were going to be in it, and it really broke the illusion for me.
Did
which
it?
is stupid, because it's a fucking TV show about dragons and swords and
What
shit.
did
But then
Sigur
I was
Rós
like,
do?
Sigur Rós just turned up to play
They were
The
a band.
Reigns of Castamere, which is a song from the show,
Right.
but they're just in the purple wedding.
So it's getting
scene.
more and more like Buffy as it goes along with.
It's
like,
not, because they
bands.
literally, like 97.5% of the people who watch Game of Thrones had no idea it's Sigur Rós. But it's like Jarvis Cocker's in fucking one of the Harry Potters. He's just in a band in Harry Potter, and
he really? I didn't know
Ian Brown's in like the third one. He's just sat in the pub getting pissed because he's Ian Brown. But
Weird.
Do you want to know who all the cameos were in Game of Thrones?
Well,
I've
up
seen-
until now.
Chris has got a list. Everybody,
I have. Of Monsters and Men were a Bravos band in season 6. Mastodon. Do you know Mastodon?
Yeah, no Mastodon.
Okay.
Yeah, Mastodon are good.
They were a bunch of undead wildlings in season 5's Hard Home episode. Sigur Rós, of course, we just mentioned, were in the Purple Wedding. Gary Lightbody, who's the guy from Snow Patrol,
Oh, right, yeah.
was
not at the Isle of Wight festival that year for
Yeah.
a change. So he decided to be in Game of Thrones.
he was one of Roose Bolton's soldiers in Walk of Punishment. Will Champion.
Loose bottom soldiers.
Roose Bolton.
Loose
said
Bottoms, his
Loose
younger
Bottom.
brother.
Will Champion, who's Coldplay's drummer, was
No,
playing
don't
the drums
care
at the
about
Red
him.
Wedding.
Did he die?
No.
Oh, shame.
But still were a bunch of wildlings in the season 7 finale, and
To be honest, a bunch of wildlings is quite a cool name for a band.
the wildlings would probably be alright anyway.
Well, to be honest, if you were like Simon Pegg does it, if I was famous enough that I could go, I want to be in Star Wars every time they make a Star Wars movie, I fucking would be.
Oh, yeah.
But the last one, in actual fact, is a pitcher for the Mets. Is Noah Syndergaard.
So no Bucks Fizz then?
No Bucks Fizz, they weren't in there.
That's a
They didn't
shocker.
do like making your mind up in the middle of a
Yeah,
battle
well,
or something.
That'd stop a
that
war,
would
that
work,
would.
wouldn't it? Oh, that fantasy one they did. I thought that slot straight in. You know, that
What, Lordy?
run to the sun. That'd been brilliant. So, have you ever seen? Have you heard that? You know, there's all these mysteries and myths and UFOs and ghosts and which ones are real and is there a
None
thing-
of them, Paul.
a thing
the
in a lot-
answer there, the correct answer there is
No,
none
what
of them.
I'm just trying to put it in context. That have you ever heard the mystery about do people exist out there that haven't seen Game of Thrones yet? I am living proof. I've seen about 2 or 3 episodes of the first season. I am out on that. I don't have a clue what's going on yet. So if it's not got Christopher Walken in it, because something like that needs Christopher, that would just
Yeah, I agree.
that would make it.
It's probably the best show on TV.
Oh, I'm sure it's great,
I'm not
but
saying it's bad. I just don't get on with it. I don't like dragons and wizards and shit. I don't like Harry Potter. I don't like Lord of the Rings. I don't like Indiana Jones and his Argo as a knight in a cave with a magic glass.
Just fuck off about Indiana Jones.
I just like... sci-fi, preferably.
I like the monkey eating brain bit.
Yeah.
Other than that, I
We're
can
not
take
talk-
it or leave it.
We're not talking about Indiana Jones this week. Leave Indy alone. I fucking love Indiana Jones.
I know, you've gone red in the eyes.
He's getting a bit stressed out. So Star Trek Discovery, as they've got cast pictures up.
Yeah, they
gonna
all look very happy in
They
their
do.
cafe, don't they?
They do. That's going to be airing later this year. Do you like Star Trek, Paul?
Don't even get me started. Kirk is God, and that's it, really, isn't
Okay.
it? Yeah.
Favourite series with Kirk then? Or?
I'm a big fan of the third series because they had no budget whatsoever, and Devil in the Dark and things like that. But everyone forgets about the fourth series, the animated one.
Oh yeah,
That
yeah,
is just.
yeah.
You got to give it a chance. That's good. That's really good.
Okay, I remember it.
To be honest,
but
the the original 3 series, the animated series, and DS9 are far better than the rest of it.
Yeah.
Like Generations, Next Generation, everyone goes on about, but
It's all
like,
a bit.
the
Oh,
animated
well, let's sit
original
round.
was even better.
Well, the difference between the two. You've got me started now. I'm really sorry, but you've got Next Generation. It's all well and good, and you can sit back and they'll come up with an equation for this. And by the time they've done that, Kirk would have already smacked the shit out of it. He'd have smacked the shit out of it, and Spock would have gone. Well, I don't agree with that. It's a bit.
But you've done it now.
But you've done it now, and I can see the logic somewhere. And then Bones will come over and growl a bit, and then that's it. And then he'll maybe kiss somebody, and then that's the end, and it's brilliant. And he's smacked the shit out of some other things. But yeah, they would have come up with. Yeah, it's too many equations for me. Next Generation.
I enjoyed Next Generation, mainly because it's the one that I grew up with.
I like the little visor. It reminds me of everything from the 80s.
Geordie.
Yeah.
The Forge.
Yeah, but other than that.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested to see what they do with it. It depends, like how they, because they've said it's going to be linked to the new films and all the series.
It's a prequel. Well, it's a sequel of the last one, I suppose, but it's a prequel of the first season.
But it's in the non-rebooted universe, isn't it?
That's correct. So, yeah, it ignores the movies.
Right. I heard that they were still kind of linking to it.
Stick
No.
to one continuity.
Yeah.
It's just
Well, if they're sticking to the series continuity, then I'm all in for it.
But it mentions, and I suppose this is the reason why it's got to be a prequel to the original series and can't touch the movies, is because it's concentrating on an occurrence that's been mentioned loads of times before in the series, but it's never actually been explored. So the
AIDS.
jury's out. Space AIDS.
So is it?
Space-related immune deficiency syndrome.
what colour would he be
Spades.
and what sort of shape? Because he's not. Do you remember on this original tape, he's always like a wibbly blob or a cube. There were fans of cube. Would it be cubed or wibbly?
Oh, wibbly.
I see wibbly.
Yeah, wibbly.
Lots of red.
I was too busy laughing at Spades. I missed what you said.
So is it going to be a prequel to Enterprise or just to the original
No,
series?
it's a sequel to Enterprise and a prequel to the original
Right,
series.
okay, cool.
So, yeah.
So I know where it sits.
Because,
That's
again, on this podcast, we don't talk about sequels or prequels enough because they're not rebooting everything.
Oh, look, if we didn't talk about sequels, prequels, and reboots, we'd have nothing to fucking talk about.
right. Yeah.
So, anyway, right, comic book stuff. Let's fucking whiz through that, shall we? Warner Brothers are reportedly looking at X-Men First Class as director Matthew Vaughn for Man of Steel 2. You may care,
How can he?
you may not.
He's already dead in Batman vs Superman. Don't bring him back. He's the worst character in DC.
We'll get back to that in a
Don't
little
bring
while.
him back.
So
Oh, fucking hell.
you just don't listen to any news, do you?
No.
Ever?
I'll wait until I'm here so we can talk about it.
Okay, well, that's probably a good thing. We'll come back to that in a minute then. Right, Professor X is
in a wheelchair.
And
I know
bald.
this.
Newsflash. My lord.
For anyone that didn't know, he's got wheels and he's bald, and he has mental powers.
Patrick Stewart is looking to bring Professor X to Deadpool 2 and possibly Legion Season 2 as well.
I thought he'd literally retired that character.
He's supposed to have, isn't he? He
Yeah,
was on
but
a
I don't.
talk show the other day.
I
saying
think he
might do it.
kind of needs to, because Legion, it kind of is his character of Professor Xavier is kind of an important part of the Legion characters.
Are you guys
story,
watching Legion?
so-
No.
You
No,
should.
It's very weird. You'd love it. It's
It's
very
so weird, but it makes perfect sense at the same time.
Yeah. It's got like almost like a '60s twisted mind fuck.
I'm sorry, but I
visuals
told
and
Paul
stuff
today
going
that
on.
he's got 11 seasons of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I've got to get through that first.
Because it's literally his sense of humour. When I
Yeah,
found out he
yeah.
hadn't seen it, I was just like,
Yeah.
mate, you will just turn around
Yeah.
after a week and go, I've seen 11 seasons.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
burned through the first
watch
5
that.
seasons pretty quickly. At some
And
point
then
I stopped
Legion.
for some reason, but yeah, it's bloody good. It's very, very funny. But that's not in the news this week. But Michael Shannon being the fucking front runner for Cable is, though, which I hate.
Who's Michael Shannon?
Michael Shannon was bloody General Zod.
He's awful.
Ugh.
His acting ability is
He's-
like a
he's
chair
very- he's
being
very
thrown
wooden.
at the screen continuously until you react.
Yeah.
Hey, chairs are inanimate. He's more dead than that.
Fair point.
I like him in certain parts. I liked him in...
I don't even know what else he's been in.
Originally, the first part I ever saw him in, he was in...
Oh, he's Boardwalk Empire.
Yes, Boardwalk
He's
Empire.
really good in Boardwalk
I've
Empire.
never seen
actually.
that.
Yeah, I
That-
take that back. He's really good in Boardwalk
That part is
Empire.
perfect for him, and I have seen him in other similar parts since, and fine, he fits. But General Zod, yeah, maybe, he was okay. I don't think he's got chops.
For Cable, no.
So yes, that's a possible, and there was some concept art released with Brad Pitt as Cable as well,
No,
which is
definitely
bloody
not.
weird. Very, very weird.
Paul, don't worry. I don't know who Cable is either.
Oh, thank God for that.
I googled Cable and it just came up
He's
with
like
pictures
the-
of Cable. And they
I
were
know
like,
the
no,
game. I know
he's,
the. Do you remember-
he's an
was it-
X-Man.
Wasn't it a game in the 80s?
Cable?
Yeah.
You're thinking of Chips?
No.
Or is
Cable.
it Cabal?
It could be Cabal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cabal.
Spelt
The little-
You
that's the
don't say
mistake
Prince
he
of Persia,
made.
Paul, so Paul calls Prince of Persia Prince of Persia.
Dyslexia is a wonderful thing.
Hang on,
Well, also you were 5.
when you say Cabal, do you mean Nightbreed?
No, it
You
was.
don't?
It was.
Oh, I
it was
remember
Cable. I'm
Nightbreed.
sure it's Cable. It was like what was it called? Operation Wolf.
Operation Wolf.
Operation
All right, okay.
Wolf. It's 2 little men though across the bottom, and you had to run around and shoot.
I
just
do
as-
know the game you mean,
Yeah.
but it was probably Cabal.
Probably.
If it was Cabal, then it's Cabal.
If you know, at
Because he
home,
typed
perhaps-
Cabal in when he was looking up Cable, and then I went, no, that's
I just
Cabal.
got boobs, I think.
then-
when I typed that in.
Do you know what it is? It's Cabal.
Yeah.
Nightbreed,
it.
was that like John Carpenter game?
The game was dreadful.
It was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Side-scrolling platformer
Yeah.
jobby. Yeah.
What, Nightbreed?
Yeah.
Was
The
on
Amiga
the Commodore
version.
Amiga.
The Amiga version was different. That was just as dreadful.
You did different things, but I remember there was this. I can still remember it now, thinking that you had to waggle the joystick really fast. You know, like one of those wanky
Yeah,
games.
yeah.
And I don't think it was. I think it was a timing thing, and I could never get past it. Bollocks.
It
Shit
was
game.
rubbish. It was rubbish.
Like
Fair enough.
Battletoads. Impossible.
Battletoads,
Yeah.
never played it.
Weirdly,
Battletoads was like a shit.
Just
Bucky
really
O'Hare.
quickly, super off topic. Have any of you played Echo the Dolphin?
Yeah.
You know, it's
Ugh.
really, really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also really boring.
Josh Bone, who you know his brother, he completed it the other day,
Wow.
which is fucking mental.
It's only
And he-
taken
not
him
on an
20 years.
Not on an emulator, completed it on a Mega Drive as well. So it wasn't like he was using save
Jesus.
points.
Has he been playing it every day for 20 years?
Probably playing it 8 hours a day for 20 years.
Wow.
How
Is
long
this
would
why
it
I've
take
never
to?
met him?
Yeah. How long did it take to complete that then?
20
20 years.
Well, I
now.
mean, in one hit. If you don't sit, I mean, is it a case that he had a
Well-
bucket next to him and somebody's feeding him chips and stuff?
No, it's probably one of those games where, like old games, probably if you get really good at them, probably take you an hour. Like Prince of Persia is really hard.
Persia.
If you get good enough that you can complete it in one go, it takes you an hour. So I imagine that Echo the Dolphin probably isn't a very long game when you get good at it, but it just takes 20 years to get good
I
enough to
played it
complete
for about 4 minutes once and went, this is not for me.
The Dreamcast version.
Yeah.
I'd rather play Captain Planet.
Fuck off.
Is there a game?
If you
of
didn't
Captain
know,
Planet?
Yeah,
if you didn't know, Adam was already a hipster in 1989.
Why does that make me a hipster? It was just one of the games that was out when I was younger that I would rather have played
Captain
that was
Planet's
shit.
better than Echo the Dolphin.
Yeah.
Ironically, of course.
Have you seen the YouTube video of
Don Cheadle.
Don Cheadle,
Yeah.
Have you guys seen that?
No.
I'll link it on the Facebook page. It's bloody hilarious. In actual fact, I think there might be more than one. And
Yeah, I
if
think
there
they've
are,
done 2 or 3.
I've not seen the rest.
Him as
but
Captain Planet. I think, was it for Dave Chappelle's show, possibly, or
maybe,
Saturday night?
Maybe it's not got
Yeah.
great production value,
No,
but
it's hilarious.
very good. You just imagine a black guy like blued
up.
Brilliant.
smurfed up.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Speaking of Smurfs, Spider-Man: Homecoming. Adam, you like Spider-Man?
Yeah.
The Spider-Man universe is going to be expanding with a Silver Sable and Black Cat movie.
Really?
Yeah,
Cool.
I quite like.
I like both of those
I like
characters.
Black Cat quite a lot.
I like Silver Sable.
Do you like Black Cat, Adam?
No, not like you do.
Oh, I really like
I
Black
don't
Cat.
like the look you're giving me.
Moving on. So Homecoming is looking a bit busy as well. Because they're going to end up with so many bloody villains. I don't know if this is just Sony doing their classic bloody Spider-Man thing, but we're going to end up with the Vulture, the Tinkerer, Shocker, and Donald Glover's character, whatever he is,
All in the one film.
all in the one film.
But then that's Sony
suppose-
doing what Sony want to do.
I suppose
isn't
you
it?
could have one main villain and they'll build up somebody else for a later film.
The other 2 will probably just be people he fights at the beginning when he's first.
Yeah, you can have
learning.
like a cold open where it literally starts with him being punched by, or him punching a villain.
Do we mean like this excellent opening Rhino section in Spider-Man 2? Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah,
Oh
I don't
my
think
God.
it's still Sony though, isn't it? Even though
Ugh.
Marvel are more involved, Sony are in control of this Spider-Man film. They're like doing a shared thing, aren't they? Because they had him in Captain America: Civil War. So Sony is still going to do whatever they want. It's just that Marvel, I think, have to sign off on it. So if Marvel go, yeah, you can have these bad guys because your storyline's good, maybe it'll work. But
Did you guys see Amazing Spider-Man 2?
No.
No. Just go and watch the first 10 minutes,
yeah,
just for that scene.
Paul Giamatti as the
Ugh.
Rhino, which is hilarious.
It's so incredibly bad.
Absolutely hilarious.
They really fucked him up.
Yeah,
So yeah.
it was good in a bad
I'll,
way.
I'll give it a go. I'm sure it's
Yeah.
on YouTube somewhere.
Yeah.
That.
Bloody good news though, as part of the current trilogy, what will be a trilogy, they're going to build Carnage in there somewhere, which I guess relates to the whole Venom movie.
Well, hang on, you can't have Carnage without Venom.
Well, yeah,
Venom came first.
The Venom movie is coming in October next year. They're fast tracking it because something's been dropped and they need to fill the space, and they're fast tracking Venom. I can't remember what it is. I'll cut that out. But yeah, they're fast tracking Venom. That's coming in on the 5th of October next year.
The Venom storyline's amazing.
It is. It's
I love
bloody great.
Venom. I
Do
love
you-
Carnage as well.
Brilliant.
What's the one? Carnage gets a gang of like real baddies, like people as fucked up as Carnage, and then Spider-Man has to get help from Venom to take him down.
Yeah.
I read
I can't
that
think what
run,
the story's
and it's
called,
really
but
good.
yeah, it does exist.
Yeah, somebody tell me in the comments underneath. All 4 of you listen to our podcast.
There's 50 of them.
There's not.
If everybody who's listening could leave a comment either on the YouTube video or maybe even better on our Facebook page, because then we know
Just tell
exactly
him
where
Ross
they've all
off.
come from. Just saying, hi Ross, you're a dick.
And
That
then
would
we
be
know how many
amazing.
people are actually listening.
That'd
And
be
we
great.
and that means that's how many dicks you are, Ross.
You'll get a dick rating for next week.
Whole lunchbox full of them.
Also, while we're doing this, I've got some Steam codes for some video games so that I can give away because I've got multiple copies of them. So comment in the comment section and you might be lucky and get something as old as Civilization 5.
Amazing.
Brilliant. On what platform?
PC because it's Steam, Chris.
Right, gotcha. Sorry, I don't know these things. I watch movies all day. So while we're on the subject then, Life, it turns out, has no ties to Venom. There's nothing like it.
No, I think that
Surprise,
was just
surprise.
the directors being, yeah, it might be. We're not saying nothing.
If we're a bit coy about it, people will go
Yeah.
and watch our movie.
Yeah.
If I don't say it outright, then we'll bring it up in the podcast 2 weeks in a row,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now he's like, that's happened, so
There
he's
you go.
happy. He's probably going to move on to his next project now.
Great
Of that
publicity.
little art piece he did.
I might go and see it though, I think. Life.
I'm living it, mate.
Okay, fucking hell, moving on.
You're living a cartoon, mate.
Trailers. Nobody cares about the fact that Marvel's Inhumans bloody logo has been released, do they?
It's not a trailer. It's not any information. So no, I
who
don't
cares?
really mind.
Oh, we've got a release date.
Chris, we struggle to get excited when you talk about posters, mate, and now you're talking about logos.
This is true. You're a fucking logo. Right, it's coming September 1st.
What is?
Inhumans.
What, the series?
Yeah.
Oh, wicked.
and
happy about that.
It's on the ABC network.
Oh, link to S.H.I.E.L.D.
Not to be confused with AMC. Trailers. Have you guys seen any trailers this week?
Yes.
Have you seen Justice League, Adam?
Yes.
What did you think?
It looks as shit as I thought it would look.
I think it looks pretty bloody dire as well. You guys seen it?
No.
I've seen the trailer. What are your powers? I'm really rich.
Yeah, the
So
best
they made
Batman
they made the
joke ever.
They made the gag about Batman that
Yeah.
everybody makes about Batman.
It's a bloody tick box Zack Snyder trailer, isn't it? I don't know if you noticed.
They've
It's
literally
got-
ticked everything in the trailer that will tick a box for making the film.
Look, Zack Snyder is really good at making comics move. He's really bad at making movies.
Nobody's got any faith in the guy, have they?
No, if he gets a really good comic book and then makes a moving version of it, it'll be good. But if he tries to make a
Something
film
from scratch.
it's just fuck it.
Yeah, but that's like suggesting that the screenplay's his fault. That's not really, is it?
No, I don't think so, but still, like, having visuals like in Batman vs Superman where everything was so ridiculous at the end that you just couldn't see anything.
Let's not judge a movie before it's come out. Every day's Christmas Eve, isn't it?
Okay, so we saw Lois Lane in the trailer, which means
They've decided to put the worst reporter in the whole of all the comic universes back into a film.
well, yeah, but who's she a character of? From which
Superman.
storyline? Superman. So we have the whole Superman Returns thing.
What I'm really annoyed about is this is the Justice League and there's no Green Lantern.
Yeah, there are rumours that he might be in it.
I want there to be Green Lantern.
It
I would
could
like
happen.
it to be Ryan Reynolds as well, but it's not going to happen.
I just want someone else to make their films for them.
Yeah, Warner Brothers, sell your
'cause you're
sell your
rubbish at
comic
it.
division
Yeah.
to somebody else.
Or
Well,
get
Marvel, maybe.
get a different team in and start again, but do it properly and start with the characters we haven't had before and lead up to the main ones.
They might have to do it though, mightn't they? If bloody Affleck
Yeah.
disappears, so we'll end up with possibly Well, they're talking about doing Nightwing.
Well, if they haven't got Green Lantern, they haven't got Batman, and Superman's dead, that means they've got 4 members of the 7 original Justice League members.
What about
So they've-
Martian Manhunter?
And they haven't even got him.
He'd be cool, wouldn't he?
I don't know
he's a
why they
bloody
can't use
character.
the people that been playing the characters in the TV series. The guy that plays Flash is great. The guy that plays Martian Manhunter is great. The guy that played
he been
Superman
in
in the
Supergirl?
series, yeah. And the guy that plays Superman in the Supergirl series is brilliant as Superman. He actually is believable as that character without annoying the fuck out of me. So I don't know why they
But
can't
Adam,
use
everything
them.
annoys the fuck out of you.
A
doesn't
lot of
it?
things do.
Comments like that, especially.
I don't mind that.
My main issues with the trailer, my biggest issue, I think, is the way that it looks. Like you can really see that it's all green screen, and Cyborg looks pretty bloody awful.
It just all looks like the end scene of Batman vs
It
Superman.
does, yeah.
That over the top battle scene.
Yeah.
It just all looks like that.
I know what you keep saying about this, but I watched the other Wonder Woman trailer the other day, and Wonder Woman looks really good.
It does, doesn't it?
I've
looks-
got nothing against
in
Wonder
the
Woman.
same
That
way-
looks great.
In the same way as the first Captain America is basically directed by the person who directed The Rocketeer, it looks like a very similar film.
It does. But Suicide Squad looked like a good movie, didn't it? So
But then I think with Wonder Woman, it kind of also looks like Thor cross with Captain America, and it's got those styles and elements to it, and it could be the saving grace of the DC movie universe, because so far all 3 films have been awful.
fingers crossed, I guess.
Yes,
That's all you
of
can
them.
do, isn't it? Is bloody hope.
You might break some trying to cross that many, though. It's-
And if not, they'll just reboot it in 2 years' time, so that's fine.
yeah.
So, so the Handmaid's Tale.
I haven't seen it.
Have you read the book? Anyone? Do you know,
No.
do you know of it? So, dystopian future. There is, I believe, an assassination of the president in America. Well, not that I read the book.
No.
And
for that to
it-
happen today.
So a Christian group sees the opportunity and seize power in the US. And as a result, women lose all of their rights, and some of them become handmaidens, which means that they have to be like child bearers for rich people that are barren. So,
Nice.
Yeah. And
Like,
it's
Cheery.
like Baron Trump.
very dark. not like Baron Trump.
That'd be a good film name.
So yeah, very dark, and that's coming later this year. That's coming to Hulu though. So it's a Hulu series. So they're
What
not
does
gonna,
that mean?
It's a network. It's a
It's
internet-
something we don't get in this country, so to you, it's Pirate Bay.
Yes, that's true.
Okay.
It's
You know
an-
when we mentioned AMC and ABC earlier?
Yeah.
That to you, that's Pirate Bay.
Okay.
This is true, and Netflix for me is Pirate Bay too.
We'll just fucking pay for a subscription for Netflix.
Netflix
It's
is
really
amazing.
good. It's £7, Chris.
Yeah.
I know, but I'm a skinflint. I pay £7 to go to the cinema every week.
What cinema are you going to? You're only paying £7.
Well, I don't. I take my own sweets and water and stuff and sneak it in, don't I?
I was going to say you have to sneak it in. Don't you? I always feel
Right,
guilty.
Hang
with
on,
this.
I need to have this hugely off topic, and I ought to just ask my brother about it. But I don't think any cinema ever has enforced any rule about food other than
No,
hot food.
I always take
but
food in.
everybody goes to the cinema petrified that they're going to get some sort of weird fine or embarrassment.
They did used to check your bags.
Was
to
that
say
when
you
we were
couldn't-
younger?
Yeah, but they don't do it anymore.
And if you had food, you had to leave your. And they took your bags off you, and you had to leave them in a cupboard.
But they can't do that now.
They can't do it anymore. I used to know
Human
someone used to
rights.
manage one of the cinemas, and they said that basically they can't stop you taking anything in, but they can make you feel very uncomfortable about it.
Right.
And that's basically all they can do. So that's why people still sneak it in, because they know people are doing it, and they know that they're going to lose out on a lot of money.
Yeah.
But they can't stop you doing it, and they just make it feel like it's a criminal offence.
Right. My original point: Hulu are airing *Handmaid's Tale* in chunks, so it won't be all dropped at once like with Netflix. It'll be like 3 episodes at a time, apparently. So, *Ghost in the Shell*. There's a extended trailer, first 5 minutes of the movie out.
Not really a trailer, then, is it? It's the
Well,
first 5 minutes of the movie.
It's like a preview.
Yeah, it's a preview, but yeah, with a little intro from Scarlett Johansson, which is always nice.
She's a pretty lady.
She is. It's very true. Everybody in agreement?
I'm
yeah,
nodding.
yeah.
Let's move on. One trailer I know that you have seen, Paul, is the bloody My Money Supermarket advert that's coming on TV soon,
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm still in shock.
which features which character?
Well, it looks like Skeletor.
To be honest, it sounds like Skeletor as well.
It sounds like Skeletor.
Probably tastes like Skeletor.
Joy, looking at it, it probably does. Yeah. After that dance,
So
definitely.
So we can assume it is Skeletor. We're going to leave a link to it on the
Do you think?
Snoo with the Crew Facebook page.
Yep. It's
Do you think that advert's going to lead to them doing a proper Master of the Universe serious film?
Well, I
or
think
a
it's quite
comedy?
interesting because there is a Masters of the Universe movie on the cards, and if it brings it into the forefront of people's knowledge a little bit, then it can't be a bad thing, and it's probably worth spending the money on it for everybody's sake, isn't it?
Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad. I mean, the was it Dolph Lundgren?
Yeah.
He did the original.
Of Courtney Cox.
that movie.
Was it
never-
Courtney Cox in it?
Courtney
Oh my
Cox, yeah.
God, was it?
Yeah, I really like that film. It's bad, but I really like it. It was fun. Same as Mario Brothers movie.
What?
Those all
I
those
won
films
tickets to
were,
watch that when I was
bad,
7.
but good. You
know-
won tickets.
I won tickets to the local cinema.
You know what? As long as they have Orko and Battle Cat, I'm fucking in.
To anyone who's not living in the United Kingdom, there's an advert where they've obviously got the He-Man licensing, and it's to do with insurance. No, like
My Money Supermarket is like a financial advice site.
and they have Skeletor dancing. Just watch it. Click on the link below. You'll see it down here.
Anyway, right, so I guess that brings us quite nicely onto our subject of the week, which
Dun,
is...
dun, dun.
The reason we've got Mr. Paul Brown here is that he's a massive collector of memorabilia and toys. I don't know what era they are. We'll
it's
cover
all-
this in a second.
General junk from the 80s.
So it's 80s stuff, is it,
80s
generally?
junk, generally. Yep.
So we're going to discuss Paul's collection and some of our collections and things that we've had in the past and things.
Why don't you tell us what you collect, Paul? What's the main thing that you have?
God.
Tat.
Tat. Yeah, I think that sums it right up. Plastic crack.
No, Paul's got probably the biggest Transformers collection
Yeah.
you'll ever see
Yeah,
in the
I've
flesh.
seen it on shelves and it's terrifyingly massive.
You say that. I've recently met some of it, and it's just ridiculous. So I feel a lot easier about my ridiculous collection now. But yeah, I started collecting about... Well, if any of you out there are collectors, or in this room collectors again, you're a kid, you collect the toys, then you find girls and ale, and you think you're growing up, then you actually grow up and say, sod it, I'm going back to toys. And I think that's what happened to me when I think it was 21, 22, and I thought, wouldn't it be good to try and get a couple of bits from when I was a kid? And it just snowballed from there, and about 2,000 or 3,000 items later.
So did you still have like your Transformers collection from when you were a kid?
No, my mum decided I didn't need them anymore and gave them away to somebody who smashed them up. So I think that's there's lots of psychological things. I think when I think back, maybe I think that's what it is.
This is going to be a cracking therapy session.
Yeah. I think that's what it is. Yeah,
for all of us.
That's what.
Because I had the same thing happen to me. I came home one day to find my parents had given my Star Wars figures away.
Wow.
They just went, we've given you Star Wars figures away because it's the right thing to do. It's fucking not the right thing to do, you fuckers.
Did you have like loads of rare ones as well?
Oh, fuck. Of course I had. I didn't have everything.
Yeah, it's time to let go of those vinyl cape Jawas you've got in the car. Oh my God.
Didn't have like tons of... I've got lots of sisters.
The stuttering's kicked in. You can see how traumatised he is.
I had lots of sisters. My family's quite large, so we didn't have like every. It's not like I was like that. You know, everybody. Right, we're all going to hurt it. Well, I had.
He hasn't just called his sister fat.
I've got siblings, so I wasn't that kid where we all know somebody whose house we used to go around because he had fucking everything.
Yep.
You'd be like. Can I bring my ATST round your house to play with your 2 AT-ATs you've got because one wasn't enough? Yeah, I wasn't that kid, but I had the ones that you wanted. I had the Millennium Falcon, and it was full of the like all the right figures, and I had like an ATST and a speed bike and a Tauntaun and things like that.
I think this is where I differ though, because I had a few little things here and there when I was a kid, but we didn't have much. And then I had to, for certain reasons, in family changes and stuff, I had to grow up very quick and kind of get on with things and do things and help look after my brother and stuff. So when I then got older, it was like, well, I'm going to buy all that stuff that I wanted to have as a kid that all my other mates had.
That's exactly it.
Yeah, I did, and this doesn't just go to collecting. It's like that first, when you get that first job where you've got expendable income, I couldn't fucking wait to buy a Cannondale bike because I'd covered a Cannondale bike when I was younger because I used to get bike magazines and go, I'd love a Cannondale, but I can't afford them because I'm 14. And then when I was 20 and I was like, I've got $5 million. That's what it felt like. And I just went out and bought a Cannondale. But I guess that's probably what happened with you guys with collecting.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, that's exactly it. It's exactly it. Because once it starts off, for me personally, it was all nostalgia. It was, I wonder if I can get hold of it, I wonder if I can get hold of that again. And then it gets, once it's under your skin, I want all the ones I never got as a kid, the ones I always wanted, the ones that kid up the road had. And it just, I can get these things now. And
it's the aesthetically pleasing
they take you back to a place, yeah.
For me, it's like it's not even a nostalgia thing, it's just the aesthetically pleasing shape and design of certain things. I've got like I bought something recently which was the sculpture of the Thinker.
Yeah.
But it's a fully articulated action figure at the same time. So you can take him off of the rock and stand him and pose him in different positions.
That's literally the opposite of what that is.
Yeah.
They went, that's a really famous statue carved in marble. Let's make a posable action figure out of it. That's mental.
Yeah. Can get the Venus de Milo, David,
I was going to ask, can you get
Leonardo
the
da
David?
Vinci's Vesuvian
Man.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
But like, ridiculous. So I bought that, and I've got that. But then I've also got stuff like I've got the original comic version of the Turtles, the original TV series of the Turtles, the later comics of the Turtles, the later cartoon series, the modern cartoon series, and the live-action movie versions as action figures.
Including the 2 latest live-action movies
not
that came out because he
those.
really loves them. He's seen
Shut
46 minutes of the first one.
There's going to be a big hole in your collection. What are you going to do?
No, because they don't count.
Paul, you can talk about
figures.
this.
No,
Don't get me started.
They are the figures for the new films are so badly made. There's no aesthetically pleasing thing about them. They only have hip joints and shoulder joints. That's not articulated.
Now, this is a subject that I want to get into in a little while, but
This
I think Paul should tell us more about his collection
Paul,
to start with.
you have a similar thing to Adam there. Me and Paul used to live with each other about the time the first Transformers movie came out, and he started buying the new ones, and I said, "Stop it, because you're going to regret it, and you're just wasting money you could be spending on G1." And I say it to everybody, to the internet, I was right.
Oh yeah. I totally agree.
Yeah.
What it is, right? This is my justification for it, and you end up trying to find that same rush that you get from the first lot of stuff. Yeah. This is why they call it plastic crack.
Just one more hit.
Yeah, and it's just you think, okay, the films are shit, but maybe these are good, and well, this one isn't, but maybe this one will. No, but I've got two now, and there's 26 in the whole collection, and it's Hasbro, and you've got to support it, and maybe if I do that, the next film will be really good. And then the toys from that one are going to be amazing, and they're not, and you end up 5 films in thinking, I've got boxes of this shit. What on earth am I going to do? I mean, it's personal preference as well, because I know there's an awful lot of people out there that do like the movie aesthetic. They do like what's been going on with it all, and it's good that it's evolved. But for me personally, it's not good that it's evolved direction. It's dreadful.
And the Hasbro line of toys, even the Marvel Legends figures, they went down to 3 3/4 inch size over 6 inch. So you suddenly had these flimsy little action figures that were really weak and made of cheap plastic. Same as the Hasbro Transformers and the Hasbro Star Wars toys.
Yeah.
This has happened. Sorry,
just awful.
But they know we're chasing that hit. We're chasing that hit. But I think now they're starting to realise we've woken up a little bit and gone,
because
they're
bollocks to it.
6-inch
Marvel figures
bollocks
again. They've got the Black Series Star Wars figures. Now they're starting to do the original series Transformers again.
They're trying to.
Oh yeah, they look really good. They're the ones James has got them in his shop at the moment, hasn't he?
Like, they're almost as good.
The new series, if it's from the comic line, and what they've done with the IDW comics and the figures that have been released subsequently from that, they're incredible. They are really good, and it's a really good story continuity there, and everything. I recommend anybody getting into that.
IDW's good.
It's brilliant, but
Paul's hard for the Transformers comics. He keeps trying to get
full boner for them.
Yeah, I got the Transformers G.I. Joe crossovers.
Yeah, they're great.
They're really good.
But it's mostly, it started off with what they call G1 is Generation 1. So anything from the, I'd say late 70s actually is when they first started producing them, and then straight into the early 90s, and that's the real weakness for me. So I've nearly got everything they ever produced.
Wow.
So, going back to what Ross said about you wasting your money.
Yes.
Right. So, why would you consider it a waste of money? Is this because they don't gather value?
No, they're gaining value. They're holding the value, definitely, but they don't have that same hit. And I think it is because I got into the collecting the vintage stuff because of the nostalgia hit. And I haven't got that with the new thing. It doesn't have that same appeal. So you get wrapped up in this whole world of, I've got to get the new version of this character. You think I'm going to buy the new, perfect example, Bumblebee, and the original series, and you've got your little figure, and it's got all that nostalgia attached to it. And then you buy the new thing. It's just this, for me personally, someone who's stuck back there in the 80s. It's just there's nothing there to keep me interested, whereas the originals, that's where the passion grew. That's where it all started.
And also, I think, do you find that the original stuff is there's so much more design and time spent on each.
They're very clever.
Model.
They're just too complicated. There's too much. There's less focus on character, and that's what you used to get. I was just saying to Ross just before the podcast on another subject, and he was showing me some it was Warhammer, and it was the whole world they create around that, and the early G1 artwork, the early 80s artwork, they created that whole world that you could sort of get lost in, and that's what you like to go back to now as an adult. Whereas now it is tits and ass, and then there's some robots dancing in the background, and that's why it hasn't had that same appeal.
But she's
for
a
me.
very pretty lady.
She's a very pretty lady indeed. But I went for robots.
What I
I
could
can
never,
find pretty ladies on the internet.
what I could never like. Paul got. It was funny because I think he would probably again agree with what I'm about to say. Is like he got so locked into.
That's it.
These new ones, yeah. But so it was like with the left hand they were going, look at the movie ones, but with the right hand, Japan were making. Chris, I don't know if you know, they do a series of Transformers called Masterpiece ones, and they're really large, and they're brilliant, and they're like they are like they're the adult toy version, not something you put up your ass. They're the adult toy
Transformers
that's what a Masterpiece Hot Rod looks like now is what you remember Hot Rod looking like when you were 5.
Yeah.
But obviously it's not. It's 10 million times better. and I always used to just go to Paul. I was like, mate, why aren't you collecting these?
Wait,
why aren't you?
Ross, while we're stopped, just pull your pop shield off your mic as well. No, like away from the mic. That's
Okay.
it. That's better.
So
Right,
I'd just be like, Paul, but have you not seen these Masterpiece ones? He's like, yeah, but they're just reissues of the old one. And at this point, you've probably... and the thing is, they were quite very limited runs, and at this point, you've probably priced yourself out of a lot of them, haven't you? By not buying them when you should have done.
There's quite a few of them. I don't regret not getting the Masterpiece ones too much.
I've only got Prime, and it is beautiful.
It is great.
They are expensive.
They are expensive, but I just wish I'd just focused more on what I was... It's so easy to get lost in that world, and a prime example is, I mean, I started collecting Transformers, and from there it was, I want to get all the He-Man stuff. Okay, I want to get all Mask. Okay, I want to get Brave Star. Okay, I want to get... And it all started snowballing, and when I realised... I made a decision, I'm going to buy an example from every toy line in the 80s. It's impossible. It's absolutely impossible. There's thousands out there, and you're never going to get them all, unless
Unless you win the lottery.
Yeah, exactly.
Disposable income.
Hugely disposable income. But
is that the purpose of your collection?
It was originally. Now I'm putting a stoppers on it, and I'm just going to focus on certain lines and rein it back a little bit.
Between you and me, we could easily open a museum.
Oh yeah, easily. Yeah,
it wouldn't be difficult.
To be honest, if we didn't live on the Isle of Wight, we could probably open a really trendy cafe in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Like with the amount of video games I've got as well.
UV-proof glass on the cabinets so the toys don't degrade in the sunlight. And
whoa!
It's
a nerd cafe. There wouldn't be any sunlight, would there?
No, that's true.
How are you supposed to play video games in daylight? Jesus.
True.
Amazing.
So, quality. So... Obviously, there have been some rises and falls in quality, and it's pretty obvious in some cases that adult toys tend to be...
Not the ones you put on your bum.
Not the plug-in ones.
They tend to be of better quality, but I can think of some that have been pretty terrible. Judge Dredd ones, for instance, the first line of those were fucking awful. But Akira were beautiful, for instance.
My Judge Dredds are both amazing.
Was
but they're not the original line then, are they?
One is from an original line.
The first ones, so that was Judge Dredd, Judge Death, Judge Anderson. I think that was it.
But which do you consider the original line of Judge Dredd
Just
toys?
the first ones that were released in about 92? No, not 96.
What, the ones connected to the films, or the ones made by 2000 AD, or the ones made by Legendary Comic Book Heroes Company?
I think Legendary, but...
Right, okay.
I'm not sure.
There's the 2000 AD first runs weren't brilliant.
So
the ones connected to the films were awful. And then the Legendary Comic Book series, Judge Dredd Anderson and Death were really good. They were the
are there more
ones.
than just those three, though?
No, it's just those three in the Legendary Comic Book Hero series, and then other characters like Savage Dragon and characters from other independent comic companies.
Though I did have a Johnny Alpha from around the same time, and that was bloody good.
Yes,
still,
yeah. That's the 2000 AD ones.
Right,
then. Yeah.
back to my point is... So is there anything governing the rise and fall in quality? Because the original Star Wars figures, for instance, were tits. They were just rubbish quality, weren't they? And then
Not for the time though.
they
No,
were
I
they
don't
were
know.
bloody
You got to think
really
the original
low
Star
quality
Wars.
plastic. And I suppose for the time, you're right. Perhaps
They
the
were good for
technology
the
wasn't
time.
there,
Yeah.
but they weren't great quality. They were very cheaply
Chris,
made.
what have I told you about saying negative things about Star Wars on this podcast?
But
You're going to
they
lose
got-
listeners.
They got better, didn't they? They did get better.
no,
The-
they
the-
actually got worse because when they
They turned Luke Skywalker
they
into
did
a
get better.
hulking
That's right.
muscle
the,
man.
The figures by the last few figures that came out.
I don't mean like
much-
the recent. I mean from the original trilogy figures released in the 80s. The first round of figures were hollow plastic, and eventually they became solid plastic, and they grew in quality just in that first. Was it by Mattel?
No, it's
No,
Hasbro.
no,
It was
it's
Kenner.
Hasbro,
Well, it's
yeah.
Kenner.
It's Kenner.
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 That's
So
right.
actually,
And,
and then Kenner did Kenner do G.I. Joe as well?
It was
Yeah.
it was Palatine. Well, there was quite
Or
a few,
Action Man,
but
as we call it
Palatine
in this
did them.
country.
Yeah, it was the
but-
first run was Palatine over in
But it was
the UK.
Action Man had more movable bits, didn't they? But then they had the rubber band waist problem where
like the
they
18
snapped in
figures
half.
had.
Yeah. I think the 18 were the 18 figures were really similar, weren't they?
Keep that pop shield off the microphone.
Were really similar to
Very similar. They were Ertl, weren't they? That was a different company, but I'm not sure if it was a sister company. But yeah, they were Ertl, and they'd borrowed an awful lot from the American G.I. Joe line.
This is the 18 figures.
The 18 figures, yeah.
They were quite large, weren't they?
No, they had two. They had
Oh,
you
yeah,
had the 6
actually,
inch,
I
and then you
remember.
had the
Yeah,
the
Three
3
and
3
3/4
quarter
I
inch.
just
So
had
they
3 and 3/4 ones.
fit straight in with your GI Joes.
Right.
How sad.
Yeah, but Star Wars figures went through a phase of being bad. There's the Power of the Force ones, which were
Yeah.
Were they were all hulking.
Yeah,
Luke
like
Skywalker.
the
Power of the
fucking
steroid
heads.
line,
But I think correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm thinking the first time I ever saw a toy where I went, that's not just for a kid, was probably it was definitely the McFarlane Spawn
Yep.
Yeah.
figures.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
were the first ones that I can remember being
'Cause he
clearly.
did the movie
they weren't
and
just
the Spawn
figures,
figures,
were
didn't
they?
he? Yeah.
For
I think
they weren't just toys for kids. At that
No, they
point.
were statues or models. Or
Movie Maniacs, I think,
Yeah.
were the
Yeah.
first ones I
Yeah,
saw.
yeah.
McFarlane's Movie Maniacs.
Oh, is that when they did the licensed?
They did
the
Freddy
Crow,
Krueger.
Yeah.
American
Psycho.
Krueger.
I had
Yeah.
the Crow one, actually.
Yes,
yeah.
I've still
That-
got the Crow one.
I had that clown from Bobbin's not here. We can talk about clowns. Fucking brilliant. that clown from Spawn's terrifying, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's terrifying because I watched the anime and seen the toy. Not because of that god awful
You've
movie.
woken up with the toy in your room at some point or another. Anyway, woken up with it up your ass.
Quality also depends on a lot of other things. Like now, like with the modern Transformers toys, they were just pumping out the ones of the characters in the film, and then like special ones of the characters in the films, and then alternate special ones of the characters
That's
in
it,
the film,
yeah.
and then micro ones of the characters in the films, and then other characters that weren't even in the film.
It was a massive cash in, especially with the movie line, and
so cheap.
But they would just reboot the cartoon every 2 years as well.
Oh, that's still
Yeah,
ongoing.
yeah.
I mean, I think there's 2 cartoon series at the moment. Yeah, there's a crossover on a couple. It's hard to keep up. I've got to be honest. It is getting towards. It's like, don't go down that rabbit hole with the whole Star Wars thing. It's incredible. I mean, that's why I've not gone to Star Wars personally, because as tempting as that is, there's just so much out there to even try and tackle it. It's just incredible. But I think there was 2 reasons with Transformers. Recently, their quality is slightly improved, but they went through a whole phase. I'll say the past 5 years, the plastic quality was dreadful. You could crush it in your hand. It was
Right.
just pants. And that was starting to reflect on a lot of other... You're starting to see that in a lot of other companies and toy lines. But I think what it was is those big companies for the first time actually saw there was a huge amount of adult collectors out there. And they were just so willing to throw cash at this stuff.
Sure. That's
And
mainly
also,
Hasbro's
and
fault as
Hasbro
well, isn't it?
definitely.
Yeah.
And they thought, well, let's do this. We can throw out as much as they want, and we do it as cheaply as possible. Make a huge
There's
market pro. Yeah,
Especially during
Sorry, carry on.
recessions
Okay.
in America and Britain, everyone suddenly spends more on the stuff they escape with.
yeah,
When there's recessions and people
Yeah,
are losing their
completely.
jobs and stuff,
That's
they seem
it.
to spend more money somehow.
yeah.
like to a certain degree.
Yeah,
like
except
places
they also
like
don't.
cinema.
Like,
no,
you don't go buying
no,
Lego,
no, no,
do you? When you're poor.
No. But a lot of people, when there's recessions hitting and they've got less money, they cut back on certain stuff, and then they'll go to the cinema more, and they will watch more TV to escape from the bullshit.
That's quite
in
true.
their
I
life.
mean, there is an element of that. A few years back, I mean, we've all in this country been quite tight with our money for good reason, but
Chris still is. So
and it's a good way to be. But I looked at that then and saw, well, I don't think I can afford that rare G1 character figure there. That's what, £120. When I get the same amount of plastic, and I might get the same hit from something that's only £15 in the shop, and then I buy it from the shop and realise it's not what I want. I'm trying to substitute here, and I think there was a lot of that, and Hasbro knew it, and they were. You can't blame them. They were going to make an awful lot of money out of it. People are starting to get wise to that now, and they actually still demand that quality, and they've had to have a major reboot. I think throughout the whole lot: Transformers, Star Wars, GI Joe, the whole.
Well, the Star Wars Black figures Black Series is a way of them really showing that they're trying to make an effort. The Black Series Star Wars figures are 6-inch, and I think they do the cheaper 3 3/4 inch that aren't as good but still have a lot more articulation. But the 6-inch have fabric on them, 36 points of articulation, and are definitely a higher quality. Obviously, Hasbro trying to make amends for years of shitty figures.
Does Yoda still have 36 points of articulation, or does he have like 18?
I think he probably only has about 18 or 16, maybe. He doesn't have. He has the wrist movements. And the
What
elbow
about
movements.
Jabba the Hutt? Does he have like 48?
They
points
haven't
of
done a
articulation?
Black Series Jabba the Hutt that I know of. I really wish they would.
I really
That'd
want
be
the
amazing.
Black Series Boba Fett, but it's already like £40.
Yeah, I bought it when it was £20.
Shut up, Adam.
It's amazing. It's one of my 15 Boba
It's literally
Fett
what we were
figures.
talking about.
Yeah.
So is there anything that actually drives quality? That was the question.
Yes, the market.
Yeah, going back to, I think definitely it's. I think the prices of oil and all those things recently have had an effect, but that's just given Hasbro in particular an absolute flag just to start. I'm going to shut up and start again on that bit.
Go on, it's fine.
Right. I think with Hasbro in particular, their quality. They've used the excuse of the prices of oil and the prices of plastic and this, that, and the other, and the production costs as a really good excuse just to cut back on the. I mean, some of the stuff for the past few years.
Have you ever
But they
bought-
mass produce so many shitty plastic figures.
But there's such a demand
then
out there.
It's
This is
like that's the thing. It's like if you're cutting back, maybe you just need to make slightly more expensive figures and then a range of really cheap ones.
Yeah, I
so
think they've got
that
that
you
idea. They're
can-
starting to get that now,
Yeah,
aren't they? I
yeah.
think, but it's took them a little while. One time, it was just they just put it all out in the same standard plastic. It was dreadful.
Yeah.
Paul, if you could afford it, would you genuinely just buy Takara ones?
Yeah. Generally, yeah.
What are the Dakara ones?
It's you've got Takara Hasbro. Takara originally produced the line of Transformers, and then Hasbro were subsequently licensed for the Western world to produce them, and predominantly in America. And you can imagine they thought, okay, we've got room to cut corners here, and that's generally what they do. And Japan, there's no corners cut. There's this generally the sticker quality, the plastic quality, articulation, accessories. It's all way better.
Some of them would just be like, some of them would be metal. Some of the parts would be metal.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
That
they can-
also happened. Some of the European ones.
yeah, did
Like
definitely.
they're different. Like some of the European Transformers were better quality than.
Well, it's like the
I'm not even an expert on this.
the
I'm just
Takara,
deferring to Paul on this, but
Alternators series, where it's real vehicles.
Yeah.
So you had like the Ford Mustang, a Mazda MX-5.
It's quite. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
all
don't know.
of
I'm a
the
big.
Jeep, like
all
the-
fancy
all
cars.
famous cars
I'm well into
as the
Transformers.
characters of Transformers.
Oh, right, okay.
And they were made by Takara, and they were mainly plastic with some metal parts, and they came out over here. And you can get the American versions made by Hasbro online, and they cost just as much as the originals.
right,
but
mostly
they're
plastic.
just plastic and
Yeah.
really badly made. So I've got some plastic ones I got for America of certain ones I wasn't too bothered about, and then I've spent a bit more money on getting the proper ones shipped over.
Weren't the original Transformers toys metal parts?
They did start off that way, and throughout, the majority of them were. But as you can imagine, as they became really... I mean, Hasbro really... They gave them their identity, because Hasbro were already producing G.I. Joe at that time, and they'd taken on the whole idea that we'll give each character their own bio, their own character, their own backstory and everything. And up until that point, Takara weren't selling Transformers very well at all. Hasbro gave them that sort of idea and ran with it. It just flew, absolutely. They sold by the millions. That's what really helped them along. The other side of that is where Hasbro then thought, okay, well, let's start cutting corners, and we're going to start producing our own. So they weren't just using the designers originally from Japan. They had their own designers over in the Western world, and that's where you start to see a lot of corners cut
to
there.
the point where they didn't research names of Transformers
No.
very well in America.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
they
really?
brought out a Hasbro Transformer over here called Spastic.
Spastic, yeah.
Oh, no.
And
Yeah.
had to have them taken back in and re-release it with a different name.
Wow.
So
Spazza.
that one has actually gone up in price by ridiculous amounts because it's so hard to get
Of
because they
course.
pulled them all from the shelves.
Is the new one just called Scope?
Wow.
No, I can't remember what it's called.
They missed
but
a trick there.
Scope's a... what do you call it?
There is
Scope-
a Transformer called Scope, isn't there?
There
but
is,
not,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
not
yeah,
a
yeah.
replacement for that one. But yeah, like that.
It came packaged with cancer research. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's the
yeah.
one.
Too far, dad joke.
But then, as we were talking
Is
about
the-
before the podcast, obviously, like the price of stuff, quite often, as you were saying, Chris, depends upon how rare it is. Quite often, not
yeah.
always. Like with Lego, the price always goes up in value because the sets are limited runs for a year or 2 years, and then that's it.
Okay, so Ross mentioned earlier on about value and about you mentioned about the fact that you were spending your money on... You were wasting your money. And is that because of the quality rather than the appreciation?
I think it was a bit of both, really. I think I realised the quality wasn't great, and I had no emotional attachment to them. I think that's the whole reason I got into collecting originally.
Paul was trying to scratch an itch that wasn't.
Yeah.
That didn't need scratching at that time.
That's
He was just
exactly
like,
it.
They're gonna make a movie about the Transformers. I'm gonna buy all of the toys, and I don't care that they look
I
rubbish.
must admit, I have seen your happy face leaving the comic shop.
Yeah,
a couple of times in
Yeah.
the past.
Yeah.
So sure.
And
And then I
seen
get
what
home,
you were
open that
buying
packet and go,
he's
"Oh."
not going to like that when he
Yeah.
opens it.
He get around the corner by the bakery, and he's already in tears.
Yeah.
So you are
It's
you
just spent
opening?
on sausage rolls.
Are you opening your figures when you buy them?
There's lots of different rules, and for me, if it's even if there's so
There are
many, it's
people that
ridiculous.
think there are rules.
Yeah, this is it. But for me, even if it's vintage, if it's boxed, I have no intention of getting rid of it. I want it. I'm going to open the box and I'm going to display it. It's fine. If it's carded, though, I'm going to keep it on the card because I'm an idiot, and then buy a loose one just to display next to it. Because I'm a double idiot.
I'm different because, like, with all my ones that are card backed with the plastic stuck to the card with the
Yeah.
figure inside, I just cut the plastic off with a knife and I chuck the card and the plastic away and I just keep figures because they're for me. Whereas with figures that come in a nice box, I'll keep the box because it's nice to have them inside it and it's easier to transport them if I move house or something.
Yeah.
Because there ain't much difference between mint in box and mint sealed in box, is there?
Not really. You are paying extra for mint sealed in box, but the way I see it, it's a rare item. I might as well get some enjoyment out of it.
Exactly.
If it's just sat on a bloody shelf doing nothing.
So you're definitely not
sake-
buying them for their appreciation.
No, definitely not. I mean, that's a nice secondary thing, and if I ever do need to make some money quickly, and well, it's not going to be quickly, but if I ever do need to make some money, and
Like me, you've got stuff that's worth
and I can
yeah.
get rid of it if I can force myself to it and wipe away the tears, and I'll probably sooner lose a kidney before then. Really.
See, I don't really have like the adult shelf space. I think to put stuff, and like I understand you've got
a whole wall there you could turn into
you've
a
got
shelf
some space dedicated to it.
I've
in
got
your
a
place.
room. Yeah.
The thing is, so now I tend to buy stuff. I still get the nostalgic feeling from buying something, but then I look at it, keep it wrapped in its plastic,
Yeah.
put it in a cupboard. And for instance, this year I bought 3 of the Lego advent calendars,
Yeah.
Lego Star Wars advent calendars,
Yeah.
with the idea being that I'll just sell them when next Christmas comes
Yeah.
around. Because I think Ross mentioned earlier on about the value of Lego is appreciating faster than gold.
It appreciates faster than gold, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I've got 2 Doctor Who sets, one that's sealed and one for myself. And the one that's sealed, I know at the end of this year when the... it may even have already happened, or it may be the end of the year, they stop making that particular set, and then the price will go from 49 quid or whatever it was when I bought it, up to about 300 quid within 6 months.
So Lego's got to be one of the only things where it's a steadfast rule that it will gain value.
Well, it will only
Yeah.
gain value while the world's economy keeps churning.
Well,
It's
yeah.
basically valueless because one day it'll probably all stop working.
What, the world in general?
Yeah, like when the insert what type of apocalypse it is happens, your fucking
Zombie, asteroid,
UCS
dinosaur.
Millennium Falcon's
Yeah.
worth nothing.
But then at the same time, like during my lifetime, I doubt anything major is going to happen. That certain things I have, there won't be collectors out there that will be willing to pay money for them. I bought, say, a Spider-Man set, forgot about it, like didn't open it, sold it for a lot more money. But then I've also had smaller sets where I've bought a set because there's a certain Lego man and certain pieces I want, and then I sell the other Lego men because I've already got them. So one single Spider-Man figure from a certain set, another collector's looking for that one. I've managed to sell that for 30 quid on eBay, and that covers the cost of buying the rest of the set that I wanted for my collection.
That's a weird
so it's
thing.
not cost me anything in the end.
So there is that formula, isn't there, where there's a formula that you can use to work out the value of something in the future, but for it to become valuable, it has to first become valueless. So the figures you want are the ones that are left in the bargain bins that nobody's bought, because they, at some point or another, people will, well, either that or the ones that everybody's bought, and then because
Been thrown away
because the
or-
market's flooded, they are then valueless, and
Yeah.
then people just chuck them away and treat them like shit, shoot them with air guns, that sort of thing, and then the rarity then drives the price up.
A perfect example is that is your Star Wars Last 17, the original series.
Right.
And everybody refers to the last 17 figures
Yeah.
as being the hardest to get hold of. And they were the last 17 released. Nobody wanted them at the time
Right.
because the toy line started to fail. They were losing interest in it. And now everybody's just scratching to get hold of those things.
Is that some of the Ewoks? Are in that?
Yeah, I think
and
there's
some of the
two Ewoks.
it's like all the droids from Jabba's palace and things like that. Isn't it?
There's a couple of droids. There's a couple of the monsters.
Man-a-Man
There's
was
a
in
Man-a-Man.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just sold one of them recently.
Man.
What? Sorry.
Yak Man.
Yakface was the mail away, wasn't
I
it?
think so. Yeah. There's a Han Solo and a.
In Carbonite, or
I don't think that's the last 17. It's very popular.
it's Han Solo in his with his duster, his
I think so.
Endor duster.
Yeah,
probably.
there's a Luke in
Endor Duster.
Luke in
Oh yeah, I know.
Stormtrooper outfit.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
Luke and Han they did.
Yeah.
And C-3PO in his carry bag because
No, that was Empire Strikes Back, wasn't it?
Was it?
And
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry,
Anakin
yes,
as
it
well.
was.
I think they did Anakin in the last 17.
Oh yeah, what the
yes, they did.
Sebastian Shaw,
Yeah.
old bold
Yeah.
man,
Yeah,
Anakin.
yeah,
Yeah.
There you go. I had all of these figures. You know what happened? I wanted to go to, like, I suppose when I was about 18, I wanted to go to a rave.
Oh, dear.
So the bloke in one of the shops in the town where we live was buying Star Wars figures. And I suppose, looking back, he was quite keen to buy all my Star Wars figures from me for £1 each.
Oh yeah.
And
Tuppence.
about 2 years later, they hit fever pitch. I was so gutted. I
Yeah.
had fucking everything.
I can imagine.
So much stuff.
Quid a figure
And I sold
as
it to
well.
him all. I sold it all to him for about 150 quid.
So 2 good nights out.
I think it was one.
I was
But,
going to
yeah.
say, yeah, not even that, is it?
MDMA is really expensive. No, cut that out.
Leave it in. It's not that expensive. I know. We're talking about collecting, but not toys. I know somebody who just started collecting Banksy artwork, like Banksy prints, because he
What, actually buy Banksy? Or...
Yeah, you know you know when Banksy would go, right, here's girl with a balloon, I'm just going to do a screen print of 200.
Yeah.
So those prints,
So the
proper
official
artist
ones, not
prints.
just the ones you can buy in hairdressers.
He just started
and stuff.
collecting Banksy prints and would just buy every one of them for like when Banksy brought them out for like £50, and I think he had enough money to buy a house when he sold them all.
Wow.
Because we're talking about prints that were in the space of 10 years went from £50 to £7,000, and upwards.
Jesus.
That's good sense, that is, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's forethought.
But no,
Well
it
done,
was
that guy.
not intentional. There was no intention.
Right.
He
He just liked
he
him,
liked,
but he was lucky
Banksy
enough
was
to be
new.
one of those people.
He obviously had enough expendable income at the time that he just started buying Banksy artwork for his house, and that became a little bit of a hobby. And then he just cashed in 10 years later.
Do you think your collection could buy you a house, Paul?
Yeah, but I'm happy to live without a house as long as I keep hold of them for a little while.
Yeah? You'd rather have the toy figures.
It's ridiculous. I am downsizing at the moment. I'm going to sell a third of it, as like I've just discussed with Ross a minute ago. There's certain lines that I don't get the buzz from. I don't enjoy anymore. I haven't even ever enjoyed it. You do get to a point. I think every collector gets to a point where they reach fever pitch. I've got to catch them all. Basically, it's the whole Pokemon mentality, and you're never going to do it. And you just need to concentrate on what you've got to have a good think about what it is you're actually into, what it is you want from this collection, and where do you want to take that. Really, I mean,
So the point of your collection is the nostalgia.
It's nostalgia, and I mean, for instance, one of the first items I got was Hot Rod. A Generation 1 Hot Rod character, just for the sheer fact that when I was 7, it was my birthday.
I love Hot Rod.
Hot Rod's
like my
great.
favourite character.
He's one of the greatest names as well, along with Lube and Ejector and Spastic. And I remember going to the toy shop and I didn't know
who's Lube.
I can give you a whole list of wrong Transformer characters' names. They're brilliant. They're absolutely brilliant. Some of them.
What is Lube?
I've got the one
Lube is a little mini con.
Right.
Yeah, he's a sneaky little fella who can get in places you wouldn't believe.
Right.
Yeah.
Minicom being...
like a slug?
Yeah, like water. Anyway, so I bought Hot Rod because when I was a kid, it was my 7th birthday. I went to the big toy shop. It was a massive treat, and I was go in there, pick out anyone you want, and.
Such a northern thing to say, the big toy shop.
Oh no, it was.
Went to big toy shop.
Big toy shop because it
got told off because I left big light on the way out door.
No, this thing was huge. It was a Toys R Us type of thing, but it was called Toy and Hobby. I don't know if anybody out there would remember that, but anyway, they had this poor bugger in this suit of a Hot Rod suit. And it was to promote the new movie that had just come out, and this thing was about 9 foot tall, and you could see the guy was only you could see a little slot where he was breathing through, and he was this. What was
that? I want to be here.
Well, this suit, he could only move. You could see his arm. He was really restricted to his movement, and he could move his legs to a point, and he could move the arms of the robot suit from the elbow, but that was his entire arm in there, so he couldn't see what he was doing. He was moving. He's trying to do all the movements. I'm stood there.
Couldn't transform either.
Couldn't do that. I was well disappointed. But what did impress me was I thought, which one am I going to have? And I was looking at them all, and then I hear this kid. He must have only been about 4 years old. Come running across the toy shop screaming, Hot Rod. This guy turns around and punches this kid clean out. It was brilliant. You could just see through the slot in the eyes, this little, the crotch area, and you just see all the blood just drain from this poor bugger. And I thought, that's that guy's job gone, and I'm going to buy Hot Rod. He's my hero.
Did he mean to punch the kid?
He didn't. And luckily the kid just got up and giggled after about 5 seconds, scary, out cold seconds.
Right.
We just heard this from the suit, and the parents and everybody who's in the shop just went,
wow.
And it was, I thought, this guy, just the sweat, you could just, it's a panic. It was amazing. So I thought, yeah, I'm having that one.
Have you seen the working, transforming cosplay costumes?
Yes.
They're really good. Paul, do you remember back in the day, the really old one? Like, this was like probably 480p. We're not quite up to HD yet, but Paul... There was a video of a guy who could transform in his cosplay. Like, it's probably made out of cardboard.
It was the cardboard suit, wasn't it? It was brilliant.
He did it, and then you just you would just see out the back of the costume, like, because you fold over into the fetal position, you just see his toes move enough to push him forward, and he's on wheels. He rolled forward about 1 metre, and everyone was like, yes! And I was like, that is so shit.
Yeah, it's shit.
Go home.
But it's brilliant, isn't it, at the same time? Oh, dear.
But
Right.
it's for me, it's things like that I remember that. I mean, and it's also when you look back at them at the time. For instance, He-Man's a perfect example. It just, I mean, it's got to be it's got to be the campiest kids TV show and toy line ever.
Yeah.
It's so wrong, but it's so brilliant. You look at the time; it was the best, it was the biggest, it was the toughest thing in the world.
But
you look
it's
now,
80s, you know.
Yeah, no, that's what was so great
camp,
about it. Everything was
know?
uber camp, and that's what's great about all of that. That's what it was the wrongness about when you look back at some of these action figures.
Yeah,
they're just, I mean, Fisto. we mentioned earlier, didn't we?
Yeah.
We were listening off some of these characters.
Jitsu.
He
was Fisto's arch nemesis. They both had a pullback arm that fired forward. One was in the shape of a fist, the other was a karate chop.
There we go. We did He-Man figures. That recorded. That's fine. Sorry,
we're talking about toys,
Buzzkill.
Chris.
Yeah.
We're talking about our childhoods. Are you just going to ruin
don't
them,
throw
are
my
you?
childhood away. I've got a whole room of
Just
it.
trying to move it forward.
All
Hang
right,
on.
thanks, Dad.
So
I've done my homework. Can I play with my Jitsu and Fisto? No, you can't. We've talked about He-Man. Get upstairs now.
So yeah, I've like we were saying, the different reasons people collect and stuff. Like, the last thing I really want to say about all this is, for me personally, Lego is one of the things I collect because certain things I know are going to be worth something, and then the rest of it is almost to sit and build a set or then build something out of my imagination with it is very therapeutic. And I've had friends that have had long-term illnesses, and I go round to theirs with Lego and we build something together, and it helps them deal with a bad day and gets me through my depression that I suffer with. So there's that element to it for me.
You should probably build some Lego with Paul Brown then, because he's fucking mental.
I'm proper sad. I've got a massive room full of junk. I don't know what to do with it. Adam, come bring more junk round for me.
I'll bring my Bruce Lee Bandai Tamashii Nations figure round.
That'll do.
And we can animate him and some Transformers having some fights with the Thinker, which I've also got. And
that's going to get me locked up, mate. It's going to be the
that'd be
final
amazing.
thing, that.
Yeah.
I'm not joking. This podcast is alternative therapy for him.
It is for me.
Come on my podcast because you're definitely the most mental man I know. Probably come outside.
One thing we haven't covered: how much space is taken up in your home by your collection?
Right,
Paul?
where do I start? Currently, I've got one room, entire room, probably about the same. So what's this? We're looking about 10, at least 10 by 12, or maybe even
Hang
bigger
on,
than
feet.
that. In feet, sorry,
Right.
yeah, feet. So that's absolutely chocker full at the minute. I've got a loft absolutely rammed with 8-bit and 16-bit consoles that I desperately need to get rid
You've got a console
of.
collection as well.
Yeah, that needs to go. That needs to go
Do you
because
want to advertise for a buyer? Right now?
yeah. If anybody's interested, I've got over
first
100.
dibs
Yeah,
on it
it's
anyway.
Ross has got first dibs. But yeah, everything you can
I
imagine.
won't be buying hardly any of it because actually I only really collect games. And the best thing about collecting games, they don't take up any space and you don't leave them sealed because you have to open them to play them.
You say that, I've got over 500 Spectrum cassettes and they're taking up an awful lot of bloody room.
Wow.
Yeah,
But they're tiny.
yeah, they are. But
Yeah, but when you got that many plus
Yeah.
all the consoles,
God,
plus
they
all
weigh
the
some
other
as well.
games.
But that's the weird thing, Paul, because the way I collect video games is I'll probably pick like 20 or 30 best games on that console. Unless it's like a current, like I've probably got 100 PS3 games because it was out for so long that I bought 100 PS3 games, and my PS4 collection is probably up to about 50 games now already. But like my Commodore Amiga collection is very curated. Like it's the best 20 games on that system according to Ross Murphy.
But that's it. That's you're at the point where I need to get to. I've got to that point where I've got to catch them all, and now I've got them all, and it's Christ, what the hell am I going to do with them all?
I better
And
release some.
Yeah, you're kidding. So I've now got to start. I'm going to maybe keep yeah.
You should open a
2% of
nostalgia
it.
cafe.
I think
Yeah.
I should.
Yeah.
That's what I need to
You
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the problem is it's the Isle of Wight.
I suppose.
I don't know, Newport. You might get
Ooh.
away with it in the town of Newport. On the
Well,
Isle
if
of
We
it's-
Wight.
don't mean Newport, Wales, for you listening
No.
at home.
Yeah, yeah.
We mean Newport, Isle of Wight. There's a big difference.
Massive difference.
There's not that much difference.
Wow. Less
a lot-
Welsh people, that's a
Yeah.
bonus.
Fucking hell, mate.
Just take it too far, Chris. Every
Oh,
time.
sorry.
With your casual racisms.
It's all right. They can't hear. They're all unemployed.
They can't hear because it's been cut out. Anyway,
They haven't got iPods to listen to it on. They don't have the internet in Wales. My girlfriend's half Welsh. Still doesn't mean I can say everything I've just said.
all that's getting cut out. Right, what were
Cut
we
it
saying? Nostalgia
up.
Cafe. Somebody said something about a Nostalgia Cafe. You had some funny stuff to say about it earlier. We missed that because it's gone.
Oh, I
No,
don't
we
know.
just had we could start our own nostalgia cafe, couldn't we? I could supply the video games.
I've got enough action figures, comic books, and stuff that could easily fill a museum. So between the three of us alone, I'm assuming a cafe or bar that has stuff on show safely locked away in cabinets so people can't just touch it, and then shit that people can touch.
You can't touch anything.
No.
None of it.
And then it'll be with the
And then-
special UV lights
all
to protect
special.
them from the,
Yeah.
protect them from the sunlight.
I
Yeah.
don't know if a bar works in the same way as it would in a cosmopolitan city in America or Japan, because the English drink to total annihilation.
Yeah, it works in Australia with that bar.
Which is a really good game, which I've got. So, to the English drink to total annihilation. I didn't mean that. As a joke. Put that on our bar.
Yeah. Well, yeah, in Australia, the guy Yahtzee that does the game reviews on
He's
YouTube,
a very funny man.
He and some other guys set up a bar together that is purely gaming. So all the drinks are named after game characters or items in games, and they have consoles set up all the way around the bar with tables with controllers attached to them, and then they have a stage for a band to play and a dance floor and all the normal stuff, but they've just got a whole area, and the first floor in Newport's kind of aiming towards that. But
Yeah.
like, you know, a little museum of some sort might be interesting.
There's a little place in Southampton that actually does something very similar, and there's a really good cafe in Manchester city centre actually, Fab Cafe, and they've been doing it for a good 15 years now.
Rad.
And yeah, it does work. It can work. It just needs to be in the right area, I think. So
I went to... Paul, I just want to
I
ask
thought
you...
you were going to say something
few
really
questions.
amazing then, Ross. You went towards the
No,
mic.
Let's just do a little quick fire round. You don't have to answer anything. What is the one figure that you think is your best figure?
oh God,
Ultras Maximus.
it's either it goes
Hot
without.
Rod.
It's
He
got to be
punched a
that.
boy in the nuts.
He did cut right in the face, full on in the face.
Pow, right and kiss.
Bam.
Mine's either
Can you fly, Bobby?
Mine's either my original Turtles comic NECA Donatello figure, or my Optimus Prime masterpiece, or my set of the 6-inch Mattel Ghostbusters.
See, I don't. With video games, it's different because it's not like the physical thing. It's I just do that thing where I go, "What's my favourite game?" and then I just go, "Well, it's probably Metal Gear Solid," even though
Right.
it's just sold
Yeah.
a silly amount of copies. So I don't
I've got
have
a lot of
that
games,
thing where
but I
I'm
don't
like,
know. My favourite game changes from day to day, I think.
But the weird
So-
thing is, there's probably nothing in my video game collection that I'd go back in to grab if the house was burning down. Whereas that's what I'm asking you, Paul. What's your one toy you can grab when your house
What
is
would you
on
risk
fire?
death?
You're asking someone with generalised anxiety disorder who imagine their house
Gads.
burning down. What are you going to save?
Gads,
Have
it's
you got
sinister
all
pain.
night?
Everything.
Yeah. Do you know what? I at the moment, I think it's either, unless somebody out there is collecting as well, they won't have a clue what I'm talking about. But it's either Overlord, G1, or my G1 Browning. One of those two.
Oh, Browning's the
The
different gun that's not Megatron.
That's the
Kara.
one. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, real quickly, I want to talk about this because it's quite interesting. Well, it's not interesting. It's fucking boring. It's talking about toys again. But Takara did Takara G1 Transformers, they did some really cool ones. Not cool in the sense that they're like a big gun or stuff. They just made a train. Like one of them was a train. Like so, each carriage was a different.
What, like
and it never
Astro
came
Train?
out. It never came out of it. No, not as cool as Astro Train. Just a train.
Right.
And their version of the, forget what they're called, the ones that are the building trucks, like the
Constructicons?
The
That's the
Constructicon,
one.
they're just the right colour. They're just like JCB yellow.
Right.
rather than the green and brown that the other version
And are they
was.
like really highly detailed, proper,
Not
the shit looking?
Generation 1 was still the same sort of look, but you've also got real firing mechanisms on all the Japanese ones. So Megatron would actually shoot and take some kid's eye out.
Right.
And yeah,
As in, like,
which is
Actual
great.
real bullets.
Yeah. You could
Was it
rob a bank.
Was it a BB gun?
No, it was little BB gun type
Right.
of thing. It would fire little
So there's,
things.
but what he was saying, he's got a G1 Takara gun that's not Megatron. It's a completely different gun. It's not just a reskin. It's like
Right.
a semi-automatic pistol instead of a revolver.
It was
Right.
never released
right?
over in. Yeah, it was never released in the Western world. It was.
So that's got to have some value.
Yeah.
How much is that worth, if you don't mind saying on the podcast? We haven't divulged your address.
It's in the hundreds, and I picked it up for a lot less than 100 from
What?
somebody who said there's no future in Transformers or geek toys or anything. I'm getting rid of it. And I thought, okay.
Haha, I bet they're
I'm
regretting
having
that
that.
7 episodes into this podcast. What one item do you think is worth the most value? Both of you.
What out of what I've got?
Christ.
Well, Chris, you can show up him with one of your little squirreled away boring things that you've taken all the fun out because it's just a box of colours. It's actually not a toy, it's an investment.
In actual fact, I don't really have anything that is not an investment other than what you can see around the room. So there's not a lot, and most of it's stuff that I've bought in the last few years, except for my Sandman Daniel, which is sat atop my clock there that I've had for absolutely years. That's probably the
Yeah.
one thing I won't get rid of, I think.
Definitely prop it on top of a clock at the top of the room. You want to make sure not to lose it.
Pride of place, see? I know where it is. Same as me towel.
My original Ghostbuster figures that are in mint condition with the working.
Are they the old ones
twirly-
with the squirrely? Yeah.
Yeah. I've
What are they
got all
called?
4 of the
Put on
main
backs.
teams still, with working backpacks that still clip on, and their arms and legs aren't just loose and wobbly. They're probably worth quite a lot. Or it's one of the 4 Lego sets that I've got that are really rare now, and you can't find them to buy online anywhere, other than like one every couple of years will appear on eBay for like $4,000.
Why don't you sell that with a really ridiculous reserve price? Because if it's that collectible, somebody will pay that money for it.
Yeah. I'm just waiting so I can do it for when I need money for a very specific thing.
Like an operation.
Yeah, when we have
AIDS.
no NHS, or I get AIDS, or one of the other many things that might happen in the next 5 years.
See, my video games never appreciate value because what happens now is they get re-released or remastered and they just bottom out.
Yeah,
So,
true.
like, there's games that were worth a lot, like Radiant Silvergun, and they're just not worth anywhere near as much as they are because it got released as Virtual Console.
Yeah.
Like they did a version of it which was just download for the latest consoles, and it's just not worth anything.
I do have a collection, thinking about it still, that sometimes is of great value and sometimes is worth nothing. And it's very dependent on all the things that we talk about in this podcast. And that's my collection of Neil Gaiman books.
Yeah.
Whenever anything Neil Gaiman-esque comes out, like, for instance, American Gods, the TV series is coming soon, the book collection will probably increase in value again. Right now, it's pretty bloody worthless.
It is weird that, because
weird.
he's such a big author and writer,
Wow.
and like
Quite a cult thing again,
yeah,
though.
but people love his stuff even if they don't really know who he is. That's the problem. Like, it's always been massively popular, but a lot of people just don't connect his name with a lot of his work. So the price kind of drops and raises every so often, like you're saying, which is just odd.
But, you know, it's exactly what's going to happen with Paul's collection, but just on a much faster kind of, you know, yours the appreciation and devaluation of your collection, happens over a long period of time.
It does. I mean, it's going to get to a point where,
how are reissues affecting your collection? Because that's happening a lot with Transformers, isn't it?
It has done to a point. There are quite a number still yet that haven't been. For me, luckily, I've managed to get as many as I could before they were reissued, so you can tell the difference, and they usually state stamped differently. The knockoffs, however, they're getting really good, and you can barely tell the difference.
That's the same with the Tamashi Nation figures,
There are
Lego
knockoffs.
minifigures. Yeah.
Wow.
Like China, the Chinese market are doing massive amounts of knockoffs of anything from Japan, America, and Britain, and Europe. Sort of like whether it's Lego, Star Wars figures, Tamashi Nation figures from Japan, Transformers, and they're just selling them for virtually nothing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they even come in boxes that look right. And
So-
it's really
so if I
difficult
wanted-
to know.
If I wanted a Boba Fett for my shelf,
Yeah.
and I just didn't want to spend £40 on one, can I just get a fake one? That
Yeah,
looks- still
yeah,
looks
and
like
lots of
Boba
people
Fett?
do. Lots
Yeah.
of people do.
Is he
But
called
it-
Django Fett instead? And he's shit.
Quite often
And
you'll
from a
find with
worse
those
film.
fake ones, they do deteriorate, fall apart, and have awful paint jobs when they do arrive, though.
Yeah,
And
Oh,
it's
but I
true.
can just
more
repaint
obvious.
it.
So
Actually-
yeah, because you're actually a master painter, aren't you?
Some great ones to look for, Ross, actually. There are some Japanese issue Star Wars figurines. I don't know if you've seen them at all, but Star Wars, if it were Shogun Samurai.
Oh yeah,
I've
I've seen
seen
them.
them.
They're
Yeah,
amazing.
that's by
and also
Tamashi Nation.
they
Is it?
yeah,
Tamashi Nation?
they're Bandai
Oh, okay.
Tamashi Nation.
But they are currently available on a certain Chinese wholesale website, which means
bang
that...
good.
No.
Good guess though.
Alibaba.
Alibaba.
Quite often, a lot of the stuff on there is fake versions.
Yeah. I wouldn't
But
expect it
it's
to be from the real
cheap.
people. Yeah.
They also
Cheap as chips.
do some anime figure type ones that make me a bit weird me out a bit.
Well, like
they're
the
done
Batman
like-
that's got all the neon blue spiky bits. all
No,
over
just
his
the
armor.
I can't remember what her name is. Jaina Skywalker.
okay.
Jaina Solo. I think her name is.
Yeah,
she's not canon anymore.
No.
But they did her in her X-wing jumpsuit, and she was unzipping her jumpsuit. She had big boobs.
Yeah, there is weird.
Japan!
Yeah, there is a weird series of figures like that of all the Batman female characters and stuff. They're really odd.
Like my girl, if I really like Metal Gear Solid, but if I bought every Metal Gear Solid figure that ever came out, I would not have a girlfriend. Because she'd be, why have you got all these weird figures with tits everywhere? And I'd be like, because I really like Metal Gear Solid.
On
And she'd be like,
tits.
now you're single.
How do you like that?
You got a very picky girlfriend then.
You must have got lucky, Paul. Your partner's
Well,
into it.
I am very lucky. She collects kaiju.
Right.
Yeah. So she's got a huge... I married a
So,
massive geek.
Hang
yeah.
on. Is kaiju not a term only created, or it's not just a recent term thanks to...
No, God,
No,
no.
no.
It's I think the 1940s.
It was
Gods-
before
Gods-
the
it's around
before the first Godzilla film.
Hang on, isn't
Yeah,
kaiju just Japanese for monster?
It is, but the whole concept of kaiju was it came around about when Godzilla they had to give it the genre some sort of name,
Yeah.
and so it's and all those. Yeah, it's the whole Godzilla and Ultraman and
Yeah,
all those
sure.
sort of. Oh, it's brilliant.
Puppet Fire Breath Man was
That's
taken.
it. Yeah.
That's probably the literal translation. Puppet Fire Breath Lizard Man Puppet 7.
Because I think like my girlfriend, she collects like dinky cars, but only ones that she likes the look of.
That's
Right.
the best
And then
way.
she
Don't fall
collects,
down the
like,
rabbit hole.
Collects like certain vintage things. So like she's completely fine with the fact that I have a collection of stuff. Obviously, as life moves forward, I probably would never be able to spend as much on that as I used to. I don't spend anywhere near as much now on what I used to, but I will still buy something in the idea of being able to sell it for more later on. So it's just working out what's worth buying and what's buying for the sake of enjoyment.
So, any last bits of advice for them, Paul?
Just don't get into collecting. It's
Don't collect
deadly.
toys.
Stick to your movies, downloading them illegally, preferably.
Don't
And
do
you-
that. Support art, because this is in some ways
No,
art.
save your money.
No, buy art.
Save your money.
Buy art.
Nah, art's rubbish. Save your money.
Don't collect anything. Stop buying things made out of plastic because it's just oil dug out of the ground and the resources of the planet are finite.
Bollocks.
Stop listening to this podcast because it's just waffle, and again, that's using electricity. It's not sustainably sourced podcast either.
Eat toast. That's all you need. If you're really looking to save money,
make
just
sure
eat toast.
all your
It's
meat
fine.
you eat is at a very minimum RSPCA approved. Stop.
Roadkill's fine.
But also at the same time, don't
It's a lot of red squirrel.
crops that are destroying soil. So on those notes, we'll see you next week.
Right, so that'll do for our subject of the week. Thank you very much, Paul. It's really, really appreciated.
Pleasure.
We've had one or two technical issues this evening, and we're going to have to forego our consuming section, but maybe we'll catch up with that again next week. So for now, that's us. Thanks very much for listening. So, Adam, where can they find you?
Adam Gaterell on Facebook and YouTube. I've just had a video used to let other poets know that there are slots available at the Isle of Wight Festival this year, so you can see my video on their official Facebook page as well.
There's a video of Adam under a bridge doing poetry.
Yeah. It's actually a tunnel, but it does look like I'm under a bridge.
Cool. Ross, where can we find you?
You can find me with my 100 followers on Twitter at Roscoe Murphy.
Are you back to 100?
Yeah, back up to 100.
Thanks.
I'd like to get, by the end of this week, up to 101 if that's possible. So if anyone wants a Steam code for an old video game, add me on Twitter, please. And say, give me a Steam code. If you unfollow me, I will retract it, though.
Fair enough. Paul, do you have any kind of media source going on at the moment?
Ooh, I'm generally hide from the everyday world, but you can visit my little shop I'm setting up, and anybody that would like to visit, that'd be much appreciated. And you can just do a little search for Rocket Punch Collectibles. You'll find us on eBay and on Facebook.
Paul, are there any Transformers like things you're into on the internet that you want to tell us about, like podcasts or communities?
There's a great little Transformers podcast called Shattered Cast. They're a great bunch, and there's a mate of mine who's been running a 80s nostalgia podcast for a little while called Back to the 80s, and that's Glenn and his team up there. They're real good, real nice treat. So yeah, check them out, and have fun.
And you can find me... Well, actually, you can find our Facebook page, Snoo with the Crew, on Facebook. And you could look at my Chris Quinton's music and things page if you want.
No, stop this.
This
is your artistic pursuit now.
There's not much on my page, but there's going to be. I'm so close to finishing a couple of tracks, so there's going to be something there soon. Say goodbye, Adam.
See you later.
Say goodbye, Ross.
Goodbye.
Say goodbye, Paul.
See you again, mate.
And that's goodbye for me. Thanks ever so much, ladies and gentlemen. Good night.
Robots in disguise. Alan Moore is a wizard.
Alan Moore's always a wizard.
I like that Alan Moore's a wizard, though, because he looks like a wizard. He's the best person to ever go, do you know what, I'm a wizard.